A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The Jack Benny Program. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
You said it. Yes, sir.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
At 49, American.
Quality of product is essential to continuing success. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. When it comes to real, deep-down smoking enjoyment, remember these 5 words. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. The finer, the lighter, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco.
So for your own real deep-down smoking enjoyment, smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
And for that Christmas present, remember...
LSMFT.
Suggestion, a carton of cigarettes for Christmas. No gift offers so much for so little. So say Merry Christmas with a carton of Lucky Strike.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Barry Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Larry Stevens, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, Jack Benny had dinner at Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman's house. And tonight, as a typical good neighbor, Jack has invited the Colemans over to his house. So let's go out to Beverly Hills, where we find Jack preparing for the arrival of his distinguished guest.
Well, I'm almost dressed, Rochester. How do I look in my striped pants and swallowtail coat?
You look like a master of ceremonies at Forest Lawn.
I do not. Now, Rochester, when you're serving dinner tonight, remember, serve the tomato juice first, then the salad, then the meat, and then the vegetables.
I'm glad you brought that up, boss. I wanted to ask you about the peas.
What about the peas?
Do you want me to spoon them out or count them out?
Spoon them out tonight. There's nothing too good for the Coleman. And, don't forget, for dessert, we're having a flaming plum pudding.
How do you fix it, boss?
Well, you take the plum pudding and put it in a bowl. Then you take a pint of brandy, good brandy, real old brandy, and you pour it over the pudding.
Continue, boss. You fascinate me.
Then you take a match and set fire to the brandy.
You what?
You take a match and set fire to the brandy.
Boss, I doubt if I'll have the heart.
Well, just do as I tell you. See you later. Jingle bell, jingle dum-da-ding, dum-dum-dum-dum. Gee, I hope the gang got all those contest letters cleaned up. I don't want the Colemans to find out that so many people can't stand me. Well, kids, are you about finished with the mail?
We're all through, Jack, except for those entries over there in the corner.
Why haven't you opened those?
They're still ticking.
Ticking? You mean it? Hey, there's one that's smoking. Quick, John, throw it out the window.
Okay.
I wonder why this... Fine Christmas spirit. That thing could have...
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Huh? Who are you?
I was just passing by and something blew me in.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas.
The same to you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Now, kids, we've got to get all these letters read because the contest ends tomorrow night, December 24th,
Say, Jack, listen to this letter I just opened. I think it's from a Scotch girl.
A Scotch girl? What does it say?
I can't stand Jack Benny because his nose is warmer than mine. Signed, Lassie.
Oh, she's just mad because she read that big story about me in Newsweek. Anyway, kids, never mind the rest of those letters. Mr. and Mrs. Coleman will be here for dinner soon. I also invited their friend, Jack Wellington. So please be on your best behavior. Especially you, Phil.
Me?
Yes, you. Just for tonight, don't bring your jug to the table with you. Please.
Now, wait a minute, Jackson. Have you ever tried eating that meat straight?
I know it's awful, Phil, but do it just as a favor to me. And another thing, Phil. When you take the jacket off the baked potato, you're not supposed to go... It's only a potato. And Don...
Yes, Jack?
Don, when Rochester offers you a third helping, try to refuse, will you? Or at least say well before you dive in. And Mary...
Oh, Jack, don't try to tell me anything about eating.
You better listen to him, Libby. He was eating 30 years before you were born.
Phil, your Christmas present isn't so big that I can't carry it back to the store. So don't try to... Oh, hello, Polly. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Say, kids, don't you think my Christmas tree is a beauty? Look how big it is.
It sure is, Mr. Benny. Where did you get it?
Well,
I'll tell you, kid. A man drove through Beverly Hills with that tree laying on top of his car, and Jackson was right behind him.
Phil.
Jackson knew about the sharp curve in the road, and the man didn't.
Phil, please. Christmas trees are very sentimental to me. In fact, I used to go out in the woods and cut down my own tree. But I gave that up.
Yeah, it's so hard to find one with packages under it.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the best Christmas tree I've ever had.
And look at all those presents. Say, Mr. Benny, what's in that great big box over there all tied up with that red and green ribbon?
That's there every year, kid. It's a decoy.
It is not.
Oh, boss.
What is it, Rochester?
For dinner tonight, do you want French bread, raisin bread, or English muffins?
English muffins. Are they the real English muffins?
Are they? I cut one of them open and found 2 tickets to a cricket match.
Well, you can't go. You've got work to do. And by the way, I hired an English butler to help me serve tonight, so the Colemans will feel at home. He should be here any minute. Gosh, I'll bet right now Ronnie and Benita are sitting on pins and needles waiting to leave their house.
Oh, Ronnie, where are you?
Right here in the library, Benita.
Darling, it's almost 8 o'clock. It's time for us to go over to Mr. Benny's house. Have you forgotten?
Oh, no. I haven't forgotten. It's been on my mind all week. Perhaps we can phone and make some excuse.
No, darling, we can't do that. He's probably gone to a great deal of trouble preparing dinner. In fact, just this afternoon, his butler... what's his butler's name again?
Manchester?
Manchester. Well, he came to the back door and wanted to borrow some sugar, so I gave him a saucerful.
You gave him a saucerful?
Yes, they already have all our cups.
Yes, I wondered why Sherwood served my afternoon tea in a Dixie cup. But I guess you're right, Benita. Maybe we should go. I'll never forget when Benny invited us to his house 3 years ago and we didn't show up. You know, it made him so angry, he wrote a letter to Britain asking for his bundle back.
Yes, well, he's probably sensitive. Well, it's getting late. You better start dressing.
Oh, yes, and I mustn't forget to take Jack Benny's shoes back to him.
The shoes?
Yes, he slipped them off when he was having dinner here 2 weeks ago. You know, I've never seen such interesting shoes. There's so many secret pockets in them. And there's a little device in there where you wiggle your toes and it makes change.
Belong to Mr. Benny. I should have known they weren't yours when I saw the box spring in the arch support.
Yeah, I noticed that too. By the way, Benita, who's invited to the dinner besides us?
Well, I understand there'll be Mary Livingston. She's on his program, you know.
Mary Livingston. Didn't she at one time work behind the stocking counter at the May Company?
Yes, and I can't understand her giving up a good job like that. Let's see. Oh, yes, besides Mary Livingston, there'll be that Phil Harris fellow.
Oh, yes. Ham hocks and turnip greens. Say, Benita, couldn't we phone and say that Uncle Oswald is ill and that we have to go and visit him?
You can't do that. After all, Mr. Benny lives right next door. He'll see our lights and know we're home.
Oh, yes, yes. Even that 30-foot fence doesn't keep him from peeping in on us. Creeping along his side of the fence with a periscope. A most remarkable fellow.
I do hope Mr. Benny doesn't insist on playing that violin tonight.
Oh, why? Benita, why did you have to bring that up? For 10 years, I've been plagued with love in bloom. I've hoped, I've wished, yes, even prayed for a minor disaster, a fire, a tornado, even termites, anything. But destroy that violin.
Sorry.
Well, if he can't be stopped, then in the name of heaven, let him play it right. Give him the will. Give him the strength. Give him the talent to hit that high note.
But he's got short fingers.
Well, every day for 10 years, it's been love in bloom. And now it's a new one. Kiss me once and kiss me twice and da-da-da-da-da. Dreadful. Well, I'm sorry, dear, but I didn't mean to lose my temper.
Well, cheer up, darling. I'm sure we'll have a lovely evening at Mr. Benny's.
Yeah, I hope so.
Perhaps he'll eat a lot and fall asleep early. Jack, do you want to come in the dining room and see if the table looks all right?
In a minute, Mary. I'm busy.
Oh, Jack. Jack, you're not going to play your violin tonight.
I am, too. The Colemans are pretty high-class people. They don't go places just to eat. Now, let me practice. I'll have to get a new string.
That was the door buzzer.
Oh, say, maybe that's the... Never mind, Rochester, I'll get it. Yes? Oh, yes, you're the English butler I ordered. Have you had much experience at serving?
Yes,
Well, good. Go right in the kitchen and get started. What's your name? What was that? Oh. Well, tonight, I'll just call you Nottingham.
Jack, who is that?
It was the English butler I hired. For tonight, I'm calling him Nottingham. Do you think that's English enough?
Why don't you call him the White Cliffs of Dover?
No, that's too long. Maybe
Hey,
I ought...
Jackson, why don't you call him Heathcliff?
Heathcliff?
Sure, you're trying to pull a bluff. Oh, Phil said they ought to hang you up instead of your stocking.
You can say that again. Oh, that must be the Colemans now.
I'll get it.
No, Rochester. That's why I got the English butler. Nottingham, answer the door, please.
Good evening. Mr. Benny is expecting us.
Oh, come in, waiting in the drawing room.
What was that?
Come in, sir, I have to come waiting in the drawing room.
Oh, you're the fellow who sells the tobacco.
Ronnie, Benita, I'm glad you came so early.
Hello, Jack, old boy.
So good of you to have us over.
Oh, it's a pleasure indeed. Nottingham, take Mr. and Mrs. Coleman's hat, coat, and canoe. Thank you.
You know, Jack, I made an awful mistake. I didn't know you had a second butler.
Oh, yes, he's English, you know.
But his English accent is so thick.
Well, he's been there twice. Twice, you know.
Well, if he ever goes back again, he'll choke to death.
Yes. Come, let's go into the drawing room.
By the way, Mr. Benny, where's Manchester?
What? What did you say?
Where is Manchester?
Oh, Manchester. Well, you go out Sepulveda Boulevard. Culver City. You turn left at the second traffic light.
Jack, Benita means Manchester, your butler.
Oh, that's Rochester. Rochester.
Let Nottingham do it.
I'm not talking to you. Benita, my butler's name is Rochester. He's in the kitchen getting dinner ready. Come, let's go into the drawing room. I want you to meet my associates. Here we are. Mr. and Mrs. Coleman, this is my radio cast.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. and Miss Coleman?
Hiya, Ronnie. Benita, what do you hear from the tea and crumpets?
Well, you know, Ronnie, Phil's such an unruly blighter. You should excuse the expression. By the way, Ronnie, I have a little surprise for you this evening. I also invited your friend, Jack Wellington, to dinner.
Wellington, splendid. Did you hear that, Benita?
Yes, isn't that nice?
Sit down, folks. We'll have cocktails in just a few minutes. I hope you'll pardon the way my house looks, but I've been so busy opening mail.
Oh, that reminds me. How is your I Can't Stand Jack Benny radio contest coming along?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Of course, it ends tomorrow night. So, Benita, if you want to get your letter in, be sure it's postmarked before midnight, December 24th.
You know, Jack just received a citation in Congress because of all the national unity his I Can't Stand Jack Benny contest is promoting.
Was that national unity?
Yes, it's the first time in history that the Republicans and Democrats agree on the same thing.
Yes, sir, that's me. Yep.
Oh, Ronnie, look at that Christmas tree. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it certainly is.
I suppose you folks have a nice Christmas tree, too.
Well, we bought a nice tree, but while we were driving home, a peculiar thing happened. Yes, Ronnie made a sharp turn, and that's the last we saw of it.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, how about some cocktails? What would you like, Ronnie?
Oh, nothing right now, thanks, Jack, but after dinner, perhaps a little B&B.
Oh, so will I. For dinner, I always have an S&S.
S&S. Now, what's that? Half soda and half sympathy soothing syrup.
Yes, it's awfully good. What? Oh, he must mean that Wellington is here. Oh, come right in.
Hello, Benny, old boy. Ronnie, Benita.
Wellington.
Mr. Benny told us you were coming.
Mr. Wellington, this is my radio gang here. It's Mary, Phil, Don, and Larry. Well, we're all here now.
Hey, Wellington, you lost half your glasses.
Phil, that's a monocle. Half his glasses.
Say, Wellington, I should tell you, we had a letter from Wickersham the other day.
Wickersham. Well, how is the old duffer?
Oh, he sounded cheerful enough. What a sense of humor he has.
Yeah, Willie, that reminds me. Why don't you tell Mr. Benny and his friends that amusing anecdote Wickersham always tells at dinner parties?
Oh, yes. Now, let's see. Now, how does that go?
While you're thinking about it, I can play a solo on my...
Oh, I have it.
Good.
Good. ahead, Welly. Tell that amusing story.
Well, it seems that there was a rather old codger in London who was somewhat hard of hearing, and he was riding on a westbound tram towards...
No, Wellington. It was an eastbound tram.
Oh, yes. He was riding on an eastbound tram.
No, he was going to Trafalgar Square, so it must have been a southbound tram.
By Jove, Benita, you're right. It was a southbound tram. Well, anyway, he wanted to get off at Wembley Station.
You see, Jack, Wembley is the station where the tram stops.
Oh, good. I thought the man wanted to jump off.
Well, anyway, this old codger turned to the woman standing next to him and said...
Wasn't it a man standing next to him?
No, it was... By Jove, it was a man.
Anybody here care to shoot a game of pool?
Mary. Anyway, he turned to the man standing next to him and inquired, is this Wembley? And the man said...
No, wait. You forgot to mention that the second chap was hard of hearing, too.
Oh, yes, that's important. Well, he turned to this stranger and asked, is this Wembley? And the stranger, who was hard of hearing, said, no, this isn't Wembley, this is Thursday. So the old codger... I say, did I tell you that this old codger was also hard of hearing?
Oh, yes, you told him that when you mentioned it was a westbound tram.
Southbound.
Oh, yes, Trafalgar Square, that's right.
So the old codger who was hard of hearing said Thursday, so am I. Let's get off and have a drink.
Southbound tram, Trafalgar Square.
Oh, it's a very amusing story, Mr. Wellington. Very funny. Would you folks care for a cigarette?
Yes, thank you.
Southbound tram, Trafalgar Square, Trafalgar.
You see, these cigarettes I just gave you are Lucky Strikes. They're made of the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobacco.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it now?
He got off at Wembley Station because he was hard of hearing, so he didn't...
And you notice that Lucky Strikes are so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
How enchanting.
Yeah, please go on, Mr. Wilson.
And the second chap got off the tram because it was so fully packed. No, that was a woman, by Jove. That's right.
And that's the reason LSMFT is so popular. LSMFT stands for Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Amazing.
Yes, just think of it. LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Deucedly clever, isn't it?
So when the stranger said, this is Thursday, the man who was hard of hearing said, so am I. Let's get off and have a drink. Oh, yes, Thursday. Thirsty.
That is a clever anecdote.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's a honey. Oh, here come the cocktails. Set them right over here, Nottingham.
Oh.
Well, folks, dinner will be ready pretty soon, and I can't tell you how happy I am that you were all able to come over, particularly at this time so close to Christmas.
Oh, thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
And since it is so close to Christmas, I think it would be nice if we had Larry Stevens sing an appropriate song.
Oh, good.
By all means.
Are you ready, Larry?
Yes, Mr. Benny.
Go right ahead. Here, let me sit next to you, Mary. That was very nice, Larry. Now, folks, let's all have a cocktail before we go into dinner.
Oh, that's fine. And, Jack, if you don't mind, I'd like to propose a toast.
Of course, Ronnie. We'd love to have you do it.
I propose a toast to the world. A world which has just survived the bloodiest and costliest of all human conflicts. A world which was so nearly led back to the dark ages of oppression and slavery by cruel and greedy men who traded in hate. It seems impossible that there could be any more suffering than mankind has just endured. But it is possible, and it will happen, if we lose sight of the lessons so bitterly learned. Let us remember that men everywhere are our neighbors, and their right to life and freedom is as precious to them as ours is to us. So here's a toast to all the people in the world. May we, by working together for a lofty purpose and with God's help, achieve the goal that mankind for 20 centuries has striven for. Peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Thanks again to Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman and their friend Mr. Wellington for spending the evening with us. And I and my whole gang want to wish everybody everywhere a very Merry Christmas. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the contest ends tomorrow, December 24th at midnight. If you haven't sent in your entry, do it now. Just complete this sentence, I can't stand Jack Benny because, in 50 words or less, and mail your letter to the Jack Benny Contest, Hollywood 28, California. Prizes would total $10,000 in victory bonds, and in case of a tie, duplicate prizes will be awarded. The board of judges include the Goodman Ace of the Easy Aces and Peter Lorre. And the supreme and final judge will be the Honorable Fred Allen. The decision of the judges will be final, and all letters become the property of Jack Benny, including the rights to publish. This contest is open to everyone, except the employees of the American Tobacco Company, its agents, and the National Broadcasting Company. It is subject to all federal and state laws and regulations. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated stations present The Pacific Story. This is the story of the Pacific, the drama of the millions of people who live around this greatest sea, where the United States is now committed to a long-term policy of securing the peace. This is the background story of the events in the Pacific, and their meaning to us and to the generations to come.
Tonight's Pacific Story comes to you as another public service, with drama of the past and present, and commentary by Bert Siler, for 18 years a resident of Manila, NBC representative in the Philippines, and a prisoner of the Japanese throughout the war. Fireworks in the Philippines.
In the battered Malacanang Palace in Manila. A bunch of us correspondents were there last February. President Sergio Osmeña came in first.
Looks like he is worried, Jessup.
Yeah.
Well, guess he's got reason to worry.
Yes. Then General Douglas MacArthur came in.
Oh, he isn't losing any time. He's hardly cleared the last Japanese soldier out of Manila, and here he is.
MacArthur's going to speak.
On behalf of my government, I now solemnly declare the full powers under the Philippine Constitution are restored to the Commonwealth.
I wondered as I stood there, what's going to happen now? And Martin standing beside me seemed to have about the same idea.
Osmania's really got his hands full, Jessup.
Yeah, not only Osmania.
No, the whole country. The question is, who's going to run the country?
You got me.
Will it be the reactionaries or the liberals? The collaborators or those who didn't collaborate? The old gang or the new gang?
Who runs a country when it's in political and economic and social chaos? The Philippines were prostrate. The roads were destroyed. The bridges over the rivers were destroyed. The railroads were destroyed. The communications were destroyed.
Yeah. And what about the Macapilis and the Hukbalahaps?
Back in the hills, beyond the desolation of Manila, were tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Filipinos who, during the course of the war, and some of them before, had organized into groups. Groups like the Macapilis.
The Macapilis are traitors. All 20,000 of them.
Many of them are veterans of the fighting on Bataan.
Yes, but after they were captured, they went over to the Japanese side. They took up the Japanese propaganda about the greater East Asia, and they even wore Japanese uniforms.
What could they do?
I didn't listen to the Japanese. I was a guerrilla.
There were many kinds of guerrillas, too.
Those who helped the Japanese, like the Macapilis, are traitors. There can never be unity until the traitors are exterminated.
This bitterness seethes. And there are the Hukbalahaps, or hooks as they are called.
We are the true patriots. That is why we call ourselves the Hukbalahaps.
Hukbalahap means People's Anti-Japanese Army.
All 150,000 of us resisted the Japanese all through the war. We were so strong that the Japanese sent an expedition into Luzon to destroy us. But they did not destroy us. No, because we had good leaders.
Oh, yes, the Hukbalahap leaders. Ava Santos, a socialist, was one of the organizers.
The Japanese killed Ava Santos. Then Luis Taruk became our leader.
Luis Taruk was a labor leader.
Taruk was put into prison.
Then there was Dr. Vicente Lava.
Dr. Lava was our political advisor.
Dr. Lava was a professor of political science at the University of Manila.
He saw we were right. That is why he joined us.
The Hukbalahap was launched after the fall of Bataan. People in the provinces of Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Tarlac, Bulacan, and Laguna, and in a few other provinces, organized to resist in their own way the occupation of the Japanese. They became a military as well as political factor wherever they operated.
We recognize that we cannot set up a government against the government of the Philippines. But now there is no government, but a puppet government in Manila.
This is what the Huk leaders said while the war was still on. And when the war had ended, they still resisted.
It is not that we are unwilling to give up our military organization, but why should we, who never stopped fighting the Japanese, have to give in to the arbitrary orders of the Philippine Army, which did give up to the Japanese? Yes, and why have so many of our leaders been arrested? What is the charge against them? Why are they not brought to trial?
The Hukbalahaps and the Macapilis, blood enemies, are just two of the groups. There are others. And still more important, there are the collaborators. The passing days have made the issue between the guerrillas and the collaborators no clearer.
It must be remembered, there were good collaborators and bad collaborators.
There is only one kind of collaborator, as far as I am concerned. The kind that collaborated with the Japanese.
Some of those who collaborated did more for the Philippines than the guerrillas who did not collaborate.
Yes.
Yes. Some of those who collaborated for the good of the Philippines were in greater danger among the Japanese than the guerrillas who were out in the mountains.
It has become a question of how a collaborator collaborated and how much he collaborated. Those who did not collaborate remember the wartime statements of many of those who did collaborate.
I shall do all in my power to cooperate with Japan.
I am filled with regret when I think how I opposed Japan for so many years.
I hope that the time will come when the planes in the sky will be piloted by young Filipinos, fighting side by side with the Japanese against the Americans.
These statements rankle in the Filipinos who did not collaborate, and they itch to take measures against those who did collaborate. Martin and I stood there in the Malak Canyon and watched MacArthur and Osmeña shake hands.
Well, Osmeña will hold office at least until a new election is called. But there's likely to be some fireworks before that.
Yeah?
A lot of the Nationalist Party politicos have scrammed, and that's going to make some difference.
Yeah?
The way I see it, it's going to be a scramble to get on the bandwagon, and then watch what happens with the matter of independence next July 4th.
The matter of independence has been a political issue in one way and another ever since the United States moved into the Philippines at the turn of the century. Quezon and Osmeña, in their various ways, made political capital of independence. But meantime, there's the problem of who did what in the Philippines during the occupation by the Japanese. Osmeña and two others, Andres Soriano and Manuel Rojas, are top men in the Nationalist Party.
Soriano. He's a fascist.
Many Filipinos who were away from Manila fighting in the hills all during the war remember Soriano's record before the war.
Soriano is a Spaniard, not a Filipino. He is one of the richest men in the Philippines. He ran breweries and mines and ice cream and soft drink companies. And he used his money where it would do the most good.
Soriano was a man of wide influence.
Yes. He was president of the Phalangist Club in Manila. He was the leader of the Phalangist movement in the Philippines. And he was proud to be called the honorary consul of the Franco government in Manila.
Just a minute. You never hear him speak of Franco or the Phalangist today, do you?
Well?
Quezon made him Secretary of Finance in the refugee government, didn't he?
Well?
And he was commissioned in the United States Army, a colonel, wasn't he? And after MacArthur returned to Leyte, he was on MacArthur's staff, wasn't he?
Let us judge him by his record.
But more important in the national picture is Manuel Rojas, a master politician, a smooth talker, even a clever and inspiring talker. Rojas knows his way around in politics. He's been in it a quarter of a century. He knows how to talk to the common man, the pitifully poor peasant, and the equally poor city worker. He's caught the imagination of the younger element of the Nationalist Party. But many of the guerrillas point to his war record.
Rojas surrendered in Mindanao even though he knew that other Filipino officers had said they would fight on.
He could do nothing else.
He helped draw up the constitution of the puppet government.
He did that to prevent a dictatorial government which would give the Japanese even greater powers.
Yes, that is what he said. But he became secretary without portfolio in the puppet government.
He could not keep the Japanese from appointing him, but he did not attend the cabinet meetings.
What about the declaration of war of the puppet government on the United States?
Rojas did not attend the meeting of the cabinet and the Council of State that made the declaration.
But he did write a statement to the puppet president saying that if the Japanese asked for a declaration for war on the United States, to sign the declaration.
He made this statement under duress.
That's what a lot of Filipinos are saying about Rojas. Others remember other things.
Rojas was really the leader of all the resistance of the Filipinos against the Japanese. He served where he could do most for his people. He tried to keep from starving by pretending to be sick, but Tojo sent his own personal doctor to see him. Also, Rojas never cashed the 10,000 peso check which the Japanese sent to him and to all the other members of the commission as a gift. And after the Americans landed, he escaped from the custody of the Japanese and came over to the American side.
So, Rojas has become a top leader in the Philippines, strong enough to pull himself up out of the political chaos and challenge Osmeña for the leadership of the nation.
That's probably one of the reasons Osmeña is so poker-faced.
Osmeña knows what he's facing in Rojas.
Don't forget, Osmeña's come up the hard way.
Yeah.
He did pretty well, even against the competition of Quezon. You know what that was. Quezon was brilliant and dynamic. He was a showman. Osmeña's quiet and colorless. But he still was Quezon's strongest opponent. And Quezon was smart enough to join forces with him rather than oppose him.
Osmeña was the man who accused Quezon of trying to be a dictator. And he was the man who got an independence bill out of Washington, D.C. before Quezon did. Only Quezon knocked it out and then got his own independence bill. Quezon wanted the credit. Osmeña never gives up. He took second place when he joined forces with Quezon and became vice president in 1935. Quezon himself knew the strength of Osmeña.
He is by nature an evolutionist. I am a revolutionist. He always built on the past. I always wanted to jump. Inspired by a rebellious spirit, I always moved in a hurry, never satisfied. I always wanted to go without looking back, while he always looked ahead, but never forgot what was behind. It was only for this reason that we clashed. But there was never any fundamental difference in our aims, so it has always been possible for us to join hands again.
Yes, Osmeña took second place to Quezon, but at last he became president anyway. And he organized his government on the basis of full post-war cooperation with the United States. And that may be one of the things bothering him now. The old question of independence is still an issue.
Osmeña has for years talked about independence. But is he for independence on July 4th, 1946?
The situation is changed. We have gone through a war. And now he may be for same kind of arrangement that will continue our old trade relations.
We cannot have that. Independence is all we have to look forward to. We common people.
If we can continue with the same trade relations we have had...
No. The only way we can be free of landlords, and all they mean, is to have independence. As long as the United States is in the Philippines, the landlords will still be in power.
Yes, the old question of independence is still an issue, with no Filipino politician at this time daring to come out against it, but nearly all of them having reservations about it. Osmeña with one point of view, Rojas with another.
Watch what I tell you, Jessup. Rojas is not coming out flat-footed for independence on July 4th, 1946.
Probably not.
Not a chance. There'll be some waltzing around the mulberry bush, and Rojas will turn out to be for some kind of interdependence with the United States, rather than out-and-out independence.
And the rank and file of Filipinos who are not Rojas followers will have opinions about that.
We must have independence. If we have any other kind of relations with the United States, it will mean that the interests who today run the Philippines will continue to run the Philippines. These are the ones who have profited under the American rule ever since the Americans came. And they are the ones who profited while the Japanese were here. Their hold can only be broken by independence.
Well, there's been some fancy footwork in the Philippines since MacArthur restored the powers of the Constitution to the Commonwealth in the Malacañan last spring. And a good deal of the pot calling the kettle black. The politically astute, those who looked to the future and hoped for some part in the running of the state, went to some pains to clear their skirts, those who were eager to appear not to have soiled skirts. And the political pot boiled.
Our hope in this new Democratic Alliance is to unite all the liberals.
A new political party with the Hukbalahaps as its nucleus began to take form.
We resisted the Japanese from the beginning to the end. The Philippines should be run by those who resisted. It must be our objective to fight those who collaborated and never stop fighting them.
What about the reactionaries?
They are as bad as the collaborators. And we will oppose them too. The only way we can triumph over the reactionaries and the collaborators is to be strong. And this way will be. Let us make the Democratic Alliance the voice of the common people of the Philippines against the nationalist clique who have too long run the Philippines for their expressed benefit.
Some called the Democratic Alliance communist. They pointed to those they said were communists.
Is Vicente Lava a communist? No. He left the Nationalist Party because of the collaborationist policies of some of its leaders.
Lava was the former professor of political science in the University of Manila, the man who was one of the leaders of the Hukbalahaps and who fought for 3 years as a guerrilla.
We will support the men who are for the Philippines and oppose those who are self-seekers.
The Democratic Alliance kept a close watch as one after another the members of the puppet government were arrested. They kept tab of the arrest of Claro M. Recto, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Rafael Alunan, Minister of Agriculture and Commerce, Jose Yulo, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Antonio de las Alas, Minister of Finance. Teofilo Sison, Minister of the Interior. And Quentin Paredes, Minister of Justice.
They have been confined and will be turned over to the government of the Philippines for trial. Let us do all we can to see that we have a voice in the government when these men are tried.
The war has awakened the interest of many who, before the war, were indifferent to politics. I talked to some members of the Democratic Alliance.
Rojas' splitting was to Osmeña. There is more to this than appears on the surface.
Things like this.
Rojas thinks it is no longer to his advantage to support Osmeña.
Osmeña has become a catchpole for the reactionaries.
Could it be that Rojas is trying to make capital of the belief that Osmeña has lost some of his popularity?
Osmeña has slowed down. With the confusion in Philippine politics, he's afraid to make decisions. Rojas is not.
Rojas may be climbing on the bandwagon because he has plans of his own.
Rojas has the popular support of most of the Nationalist Party.
You nationalists should give some thought to splitting the Nationalist Party between Osmeña and Rojas.
There is no possibility of splitting the party if Rojas is its leader.
So the seasoned ones watch the political scene and make their decisions.
We of the Democratic Alliance will not have enough strength by the time the election comes to put up a candidate with any chance of winning against either Rojas or Osmeña.
No. In this election, we must support the lesser evil. Yes.
But isn't there a possibility that the nationalists, to avoid splitting their party, might put up Osmeña for a second term as president and run Rojas as vice president?
There is.
For the people of the Philippines, this would be bad.
Yes. Then we would have either Osmeña for another term or he could resign soon after the inauguration. And we would have Rojas for president.
Well, on September 1st, the military participation in the civil administration of the Philippines ended. That meant that the Filipinos were, for all practical purposes, back running their own show. Paul McNutt came back, of course, as High Commissioner, but the main job, not only of cleaning up the rubble, but straightening out the affairs of the Philippines, was in the hands of the Osmeña government. And this was another headache, a matter of the members of the legislature against the administration.
Why doesn't Osmeña call the legislature together? The administration is supposed to be responsible to us as representatives of the people.
Many members of the legislature have war records that are not good. We cannot permit these congressmen and senators to convene and pass laws favorable to themselves. We must wait for the election.
When the legislature did meet, some hot words were thrown around.
I say that the president himself has profited from the work of one of his sons. And this son has the crowd of collaboration over him.
The finger pointing was still going on, but though some measures were taken against collaborators, the issues were too confused for any clear-cut action. So there was temporizing. That is, until a firm message came from Washington, D.C.
It is from Secretary of Interior Harold Ickes.
Yes? What does it say?
It says that unless sterner action is taken against collaborationists before the coming election, the United States might stop helping the Philippines.
Might stop? How can we take action against a man when he has the support of some of the most influential politicians?
It didn't take Osmeña long to reply to Ickes' warning. He promised quick and vigorous prosecution of all Filipinos accused of collaboration. The guerrillas were willing to point them out, but so were the collaborators, one against the other, each to save himself. And out of it all came involved discussions about what constitutes collaboration, and what is collaboration and what is not. And meantime, there were the pressing problems of relief and rehabilitation.
See what Truman said in Washington, Jessup?
Oh, what'd he say?
He says, it would be neither just nor fair to the loyal people of the Philippines to proclaim their independence until a necessary program of rehabilitation has been worked out.
Uh-huh.
He's got something there.
Yeah.
He says here that he will not even consider advancing the date for independence next July 4th.
Well, he shouldn't. That meant that first things would be handled first. The matter of feeding the people, getting some of their communications in working order, straightening out the currency mix-up, and rooting out the black market.
We are capable of taking care of ourselves. Roosevelt said that we would get our independence as soon as we were liberated.
All were not willing to wait.
We need help, yes. Our people need food. Our country needs to be rebuilt. But the longer the United States is here, the more entrenched the old interests will be.
The old political ferment was boiling up again, and with it all the issues that have been part of the Filipino political scene for the last half-century. Independence, tariffs, trade relations, and all the rest and 100 more. And the patience of the rank and file rubbed raw by the war. Well, in November, Osmeña in Washington asked the United States to hold a Philippine election before April 30th, 1946. Now it's a matter of the United States approving.
That means that they'd elect a president and vice president and a flock of congressmen and senators, doesn't it?
That's right.
April 30th, eh?
Yes.
Well, that would give the new administration just about 2 months before the inauguration on July 4th.
That's right.
Well, Jessup, there's going to be more cooking politically in the Philippines between now and Election Day than ever before. I've got an idea, all considered, that these are going to be the most important months in the history of the islands.
I've got an idea you're right.
Torn by war and facing the difficult days of Reconstruction, at the same time it emerges as a nation in its own right, troublesome times lie ahead for the Philippines. To tell the significance of what is today happening in the Philippines, the National Broadcasting Company presents Bert Silen, for 18 years a resident of Manila, a radio representative of NBC in the islands, and a prisoner of the Japanese from the fall of the Philippines. The next voice you hear will be that of Mr. Silen. We switch you now to San Francisco.
Yes, we do have our problems in the Philippines. I was there when the Japanese invaders destroyed its cities and farms and was well on the way to destroying its people when the American forces of liberation swarmed over the islands. I saw 25 square miles of the beautiful city of Manila razed to the ground. Today, the Philippine government is bankrupt. The bridges and highways of Luzon, Cebu, and Panay are blasted to dust and bits of rusted steel. All of the inter-island ships were commandeered by the American Army and Navy in the hectic days after Pearl Harbor and then were sunk by the Japs. There are no telephones, gas, electricity, automobiles, and a dozen other normal necessities of life. Before the war, American goods of all kinds were used by the Filipinos, much as we here in this country know and use them. Through American education, for instance, 16 million Filipinos were taught oral hygiene. Millions and millions of toothbrushes were in daily use. Since the war, though, I doubt if there are 100,000 toothbrushes left in the islands. The same holds true with hundreds of other items. Everything must be replaced. But there is another development, one that will affect the Filipinos' future for generations to come. In accordance with law and the promise of the United States, the Philippines will become a free and independent nation on July the 4th, 1946. There is a political situation there that has all the attributes of a time bomb. Tremendous forces for good and evil are at work this very hour in those 7,000 isles. Nearly 500,000 so-called guerrillas are bound and determined to have their say in any new government that may be set up there. They feel that they have earned the right to speak and speak loudly. And the pity of it is that some of these so-called guerrillas are not guerrillas at all. Call them opportunists just to be charitable. They are a bad lot, out for their own personal good, are armed to the teeth and virtually defy law and order. They must be handled carefully to avoid open hostilities, and their power in politics is very strong indeed. They do not approve any of the incumbent heads of the Commonwealth, and even doubt the acceptability of General Manuel Rojas as a potential president of the new republic. General Rojas was in the field in Mindanao when the Japs came in, and it was he who surrendered the Filipino troops to the Japanese after General Wainwright ordered the surrender.
He was then taken to Cabanatuan and held there as a prisoner of war until about the time that the Japs were getting ready to give the Philippines their puppet independence. Because of his weakened condition, and no doubt his sincere desire to help his people, Rojas did collaborate in the drawing up of a constitution. He was the president of the convention when the Commonwealth Constitution was created in 1935, so he knew something about what he was doing. For this act, he was branded a collaborator, but was later given a clean bill of health, much to the disgust of some of the guerrilla element. The elections in April next year may decide the issue, although it appears now that a coalition may be formed between Rojas and President Osmeña to jointly take over the reins of government with the understanding that in due time, Osmeña will step aside and leave Rojas alone in the saddle. All of these conditions lead me to believe that unless we, the United States, take some drastic step before next July, independence for the Philippines will be a pretty empty gesture, more harmful than good, and might well lead to internal disruption bordering on civil war. I talked to hundreds of Filipinos last March while I was still in Manila, and hardly a one of them wanted independence now or in the near future. The first move, though, will have to come from the Filipinos themselves for any postponement of independence. The United States is too far committed to carry out the present plan for her to even suggest a change. Yes, conditions in the Philippines are pretty rough right now. Whether they get worse or better depends entirely on an open, friendly discussion of Philippine-American relations, and then some real constructive action on our part to take care of these people who were so loyal to the American cause during more than 3 years of terrible trial and hardship.
Thank you, Mr. Bert Silen. Presented by the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations as a public service to clarify events in the Pacific and to make understandable the cross currents of life in the Pacific Basin. For a reprint of this Pacific Story program, send 10 cents in stamps or coin to University of California Press, Berkeley, California. May I repeat? For a reprint of this Pacific Story program, send 10 cents in stamps or coin to University of California Press, Berkeley, California. The Pacific Story is written and directed by Arnold Marquis. The original musical score was composed and conducted by Thomas Peluso. The principal voice was that of Arthur Gilmore. Programs in this series of particular interest to servicemen and women are broadcast overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Whenever you have occasion to send a card, remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The Hallmark Charlotte Greenwood Show. And here she is, that lovable lady of stage, screen, and radio, Charlotte Greenwood.
Christmas story about a sailor, a gob from Uncle Sam's Navy.
Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Greenwood. We don't use that word gob in the Navy anymore. Sailors like to be called mate.
Not by me, they don't. And it isn't Mrs. Greenwood, it's Miss Greenwood.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
Friend Charlotte Greenwood has as her special guest today one of the screen's most personable young men, the star of the Warner Brother picture, Too Young to Know, Mr. Robert Hudson. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Hallmark Charlotte Greenwood Show is brought to you this Sunday and every Sunday at this time by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards to remind you that whenever you want to remember someone, you'll find a Hallmark card
that says just what you want to say, the way you want to say it. So when you choose a card, look on the back for the identifying name Hallmark. Yes, don't forget, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. Christmas Eve in Lakeview as our story opens, the eve of a white Christmas. Right now, the swirling flakes are sifting down from the late afternoon sky and covering the top of the magic mantle that turns streets and trees and houses into frosted crystal. Here on Main Street, hurrying homeward with last-minute packages, we meet Aunt Charlotte and young Robert trudging through the snow.
Hurry, Robert. We've got to get home and trim that tree.
I'm pushing right along, Aunt Charlotte, as fast. Oh, boy, look in that window.
What is it?
The store's got skates. Real terrapin ice skates.
Oh, and here I've been searching the town for skates like those.
Have you, honest? What you want skates for, Aunt Charlotte?
Well, I might want to wear them sometime when Sylvester's just waxed the floors.
Oh, Aunt Charlotte, you wouldn't want skates for yourself.
Well, you can't tell what might come up, although when I'm on skates, you can always tell what's coming down.
Gosh, Aunt Charlotte, you love winter sports, too.
Oh, I do. And as a matter of fact, I hold one of the world's records.
Which one?
I was the first woman to see the top of the Alps without climbing them.
Aunt Charlotte, about those skates in the window, who are they for?
Ooh, for a certain small boy.
Anybody I know?
Maybe.
Who is it?
Oh, look at that big, chubby Santa Claus on the corner.
Who is it?
Looks like Mr. Reynolds.
No, Aunt Charlotte. I mean, who's the little boy you're going to get the ice skates for?
Ooh, a little boy who's very deserving of them.
Oh.
Get your mistletoe here. Only the water.
Hey, look who's selling mistletoe. Jerry Davis lives down the block from us. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Robert. Oh, hi, Miss Greenwood. Did you get your mistletoe yet? Did you? Did you?
Oh, mistletoe. You know, I remember the first sprig of mistletoe I bought when I was 16 years old.
Did you hang it up and wait to be kissed?
And if nothing happens by next Thursday, I'm going to take it down. Oh, Robert, hold these packages for me. I want to go in and see about those ice skates. I'll be right back.
Okay, Aunt Charlotte.
Hey, Robert, watch me make a big deal with a sailor coming along. They're always a pushover for mistletoe. Here you are, sailor. Get your mistletoe.
What do I want with mistletoe?
Ain't you heard? You hang it up in your house.
What house? I'm sleeping in the bus station.
Bus station? What for?
Well, because I say, will you kids get out of my way?
But I want to know, mister.
Well, I'll say one thing for you, son. You're the first person in Lakeview that's even been interested. Okay, I'll tell you. I just got out of the Navy, see? I get back to my farm over near Mountain City, but nobody's there. My wife's gone, and she's told the neighbors she's coming here to Lakeview.
Gee, what for?
Nobody knows. So I get here yesterday, and I can't find her anyplace. I can't even find a room to stay in myself. The town's jammed.
Gee, that's tough. But look, mister, maybe I could help you. My Aunt Charlotte Greenwood and she...
Hey, pipe down.
But my Aunt Charlotte could find
I said cut it. Look, mister, you want to buy some mistletoe or don't you?
I told you no, didn't I? What am I wasting my time talking to kids for? I got to find my wife. I'm shoving off.
Look, Jerry, what'd you make me shut up for?
You gotta get all the angles to be in shape, Bobby. Don't tell your Aunt Charlotte about this, or she'll spend all night running around town trying to help the guy. And meantime, what's going to happen to your Christmas Eve, huh? No supper, no tree, no nothing.
Yeah, but...
Here she comes.
Oh, Robert, who was that sailor I just saw walking away?
Why, he
was just asking directions, Miss Greenwood. Hey, didn't you get the skate?
Well, they didn't have the right size.
Are you sure?
Well, they're sending to the warehouse. They'll deliver them this evening. Robert, we must get home. Have a Merry Christmas, Jerry.
Oh, you bet. With the dough I'm making on this mistletoe, I'll do all right. Yo, get your mistletoe here. Yo, get your mistletoe.
He's a sentimental little boy, isn't he?
Aunt Charlotte.
Yes, Robert?
What does it mean to get all the angles?
Where did you hear that?
Jerry and I were talking, and he said I ought to get all the angles to be in good shape.
Don't you believe it, son. I've had nothing but angles, and look at the shape I'm in.
Barbara, I'm sure it's that bulb on top of the tree that's burned out.
Oh, Sylvester, if you put in a new one, they'll all come on, won't they?
I don't know. But I'll see. Yes, it's working.
Hello, children.
Oh, hi, Aunt Charlotte. Hi.
Hi.
Are you saying hello or describing me?
Hello there.
Oh, my, what a lovely tree.
Jiminy cricket. The lights all work now.
Yes. Wonderful thing, electricity.
Benjamin Franklin discovered it in 1752. He was flying a kite in a thunderstorm.
Well, I don't know why Benjamin Franklin gets all the credit for the discovery.
Well, it was his experiment.
I know, but it was my kite.
That tree sure is pretty. Well, got to go out the kitchen and have a good cry.
A good cry?
Yes. Peeling onions. I'll call you when dinner's ready.
Aunt Charlotte, are you going to hang up your stockings tonight?
I am not. Last Christmas, I hung up my only pair of nylons, and in the morning, the stockings were gone, and there was a note from Santa Claus.
What did it say?
Thank you. This is just what Mrs. Claus wanted for Christmas.
Oh, here's one more ball to hang on the Christmas tree.
Oh, gee, it sure is a beautiful tree. Yeah, but it'd look a lot prettier if it had a pair of ice skates under it.
So you think maybe you're going to get a pair of ice skates, eh, Sprout?
Well, how do you think you'd look on ice skates? I'd look swell.
Aunt Charlotte, how do you look on ice skates?
2 inches taller.
Gee whiz, everybody looks 2 inches taller on ice skates.
Yes, but not 2 inches taller than the Chrysler building.
Hey, Aunt Charlotte, I forgot. Here's all the mail I brought in.
Oh, it looks like a lot of Christmas cards there.
Yeah. Can I open the ones that are addressed to the family?
Of course, Robert. Let's all sit down here in front of the fire, huh? And then everybody can see them. Poke up that log a little, will you, Jack?
Oh, sure will.
Boy, am I tired. Aunt Charlotte and I were in and out of 1,000,000 stores. People were buying everything in sight.
One woman rounded up 6 floor workers to get a half a dozen carnations. Come on now, let's look at the Christmas card, shall we?
Okay. Oh, gee, am I sleepy. Here's a pretty card from the Gregory family. Oh, isn't it lovely? The shepherds watching their flock.
Let's see, Barbara. On earth, peace, goodwill toward men. Nothing could be more beautiful than that, children.
Right up to date, too.
Up to date?
Well, the war's over, isn't it? That's peace.
You're so sleepy you don't know what you're saying. The card isn't about the war. It's what the angel said to the shepherds almost 2,000 years ago.
Okay, who's arguing?
Talking like it was a new idea.
Well, Robert could be right, Jack. Any idea is new until it's generally accepted and understood. There are still some people who may not understand the true meaning of peace on earth, goodwill toward men, just as there may have been people in Bethlehem who didn't understand and accept the shepherds when they told them what they had seen and heard that night in the fields.
Honestly, Aunt Charlotte? Do you think there were people who didn't believe the shepherds?
Well, Bethlehem was just a little country town until Caesar Augustus decreed that everyone had to return to his native city to be taxed. And then, overnight, it was filled with strangers. And people are often suspicious of strangers, even when they speak of peace and goodwill. Let's see some more of those cards, shall we, Robert? Robert?
I knew it. He's gone to sleep.
Robert? Oh, Robert? Robert! Oh, Robert!
I'm pushing right along, Aunt Charlotte, as fast as I can.
Well, hurry, son. I want to get to the marketplace before everything's gone. My, I've never seen so many people in Bethlehem.
That's on account of Caesar making everybody go back where they were born.
Oh, I see.
Gosh, Aunt Charlotte, Caesar liable to make you go back to Egypt.
Egypt? Why?
You're so beautiful.
Huh?
You look just like Cleopatra.
You can dream better than I can.
Thanks, Aunt Charlotte. Oh, boy, look in that store.
What is it, Robert?
They got slingshots. Real champion David model slingshot.
Oh, I'll bet I know a certain small boy who'd like one of those.
Oh, boy, if I had one, I'd shoot it just like David.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
What do you mean?
I look too much like Goliath. And I'm not dreaming. But anyway, hold these packages, Robert. I'll be right back.
Rug, get your rug. Feel all the angels out.
Hiya, Jeremiah.
Oh, hi. Hey, Robertius. Watch me make a big deal with a shepherd coming along. They're always a pushover for a rug. Here you are, Shep. Don't you want a rug, don't you? Huh? Don't you? Huh?
What do I want with a rug?
Ain't you heard you put it on the floor?
What floor? I'm sleeping in the fields.
The field? Why?
Well, because Well, will you kids get out of my way?
But I want to know, Shepherd.
Well, I came to Bethlehem to find someone. Someone who means peace and goodwill toward men. But I can't find him. I can't even find a place to stay myself.
Look, Shepherd, maybe I could help you. My Aunt Charlotte.
Hey, pipe down.
No, I won't.
But look, you gotta get all the angles.
This time I don't care about any angles. Aunt Charlotte, Aunt Charlotte!
What is it, Robert?
The shepherd, Aunt Charlotte, he's trying to find someone. Someone that means peace and goodwill.
Those are beautiful things. How can I help you, Shepherd?
You mean you're willing to believe me even if I'm a stranger?
Of course. Tell me, how did you hear about these things?
Well, the night before last, some other shepherds and I were watching our flocks. It was a still night with a sky like a big blue bowl. And the stars, you could reach up and pick yourself a handful of them. And all at once, there was an angel standing beside us. The angel said not to be afraid because he had good tidings. He said that in a manger there was someone...
Robert? Oh, Robert. Robert, wake up, son. Dinner's ready.
Where'd you go? Where? Oh, I'm in Lakeview.
Oh, boy, have you been having a dream?
You've been asleep for half an hour mumbling about somebody needing help.
What were you dreaming, son?
Aunt Charlotte, did you ever do something the wrong way? I wish you had a chance to do it over.
What's on your mind, Robert?
Well, down at the bus station, Aunt Charlotte, there's a sailor, and he needs somebody to help him.
I see. Well, Jack and Barbara, you have your dinner, and Robert and I will be back as soon as we can.
You mean you're going to go with me?
Of course, darling. Though I must say I never expected to start chasing sailors at my age. Let's go.
This Tuesday will be an unforgettable day for families all over the nation. It will be the first Christmas at home for thousands of thirdless men. Tomorrow night, for the first time, many young fathers will help fill tiny stockings, help trim the tree that will make their little ones' eyes grow big as saucers. And on Christmas Day, the air will be filled with Christmas carols, the laughter of children, the aroma of spruce, and the fabulous turkey that Mom will be preparing in the kitchen. The house will ring with the warm wishes of friends who call to say Merry Christmas. And Christmas will really be Christmas again. Part of it is the pleasure you'll feel in looking through the cards you've received. For Christmas cards are little winged messengers that carry the thoughts of friends and loved ones. Each card tells you that someone has remembered. Someone is thinking of you at Christmas, is close to you in spirit, reaching out perhaps across many miles. Yes, Christmas will really be Christmas, because your friends and dear ones will have shared it in person and through the heart-to-heart messages of cards. Now back to the Hallmark Charlotte Greenwood show. It's really Christmas Eve in Lakeview now. The snow is piling higher in the streets, and most of the people of the town are enjoying the peace and comfort of their own firesides. But not Aunt Charlotte and young Robert. Right now, they're entering Lakeview's crowded bus station.
Hi, there are a lot of sailors in here, Robert. Are you sure you can find the one you talked to?
Yeah, I'll know him. He had on a blue uniform and a white hat.
Well, that's a novelty. Can you tell me more about him?
He had a lot of silver ribbons on his chest.
Well, I can see quite a few sailors in here with ribbons on their chest, but they've all got girls on their arms. How are we going to find him?
I say, Aunt Charlotte, maybe you could ask that sailor coming this way.
You mean the one with the club and the SP on his arm?
Yes, he stands for Shore Patrol.
Really? I thought it meant sailor's pal. Pardon me?
Yeah, lady.
I'm looking for a sailor.
They're all taken.
Yes. Well, it's a certain sailor that I've got to find. I'm trying to help him find his wife.
Ah, that guy.
Oh, you know him?
You see this bump on my jaw, lady? That's how we got acquainted.
He struck you?
Yeah. He kept hanging around here telling me he's got to find his wife. I tell him I don't know any way to find her, so cast off. And that's when he lowered the boom on me.
Sounds like a naval engagement.
Lady, the Battle of the Coral Sea wasn't in it. Finally, I'm on top. I'm getting ready to throw him in a brig. Then I find out he's got discharge papers. So I turn him over to the cops.
Well, then what happened to him?
You might find him at the police station. Yeah. The way that guy was acting, there's no telling what happened to the police station.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, Robert, come along. We're going to the police station.
Police station? What for?
Son, I imagine a lot of sailors have bailed out battleships.
Yeah?
But this is the first time an old battleship ever bailed out a sailor.
This is the right police station, lady, and I know the sailor you mean.
Oh, good. Where is he?
He ain't here. We let him go.
Why, officer?
Oh, I don't know. It's Christmas. I guess I'm just sentimental.
Did you try to help him?
Oh, sure. We got his wife's description to turn over to the Bureau of Missing Persons. But between you and me, I don't think we're going to find his wife in Lakeview.
Why not?
Well, from what he told me, his wife is a city girl. He met her about a year ago and left her on this farm of his over near Mound City. Excepting for one furlough last spring. He ain't seen her since. And him being at sea, they ain't hardly had any letters from each other.
Well, that's happened pretty often, Sergeant.
Yeah. And the rest of it's happened pretty often, too. My idea is that she's just drifted away and he'll never find her.
Oh, from what Robert has told me about that sailor, I'm pretty sure you're wrong, Sergeant.
Lady, if you expect to find that guy, you just don't know anything about sailors.
Oh, yes, I do. I was out on the ocean once, and a sailor looked me up, and he was looking for the keeper.
The keeper?
Yeah, he thought I was a lighthouse. Let's go, Robert.
Charlotte, it's snowing harder than ever. And we've looked everywhere for that sailor.
And you're missing your Christmas Eve and your dinner, too. Are you sure you want to keep on trying?
Yeah, I am. I think it's awful important.
Well, I'm glad you do, Robert, because that's just the way I feel about it. Come on, son.
Hey, look who's coming. Gertrude Gleason.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Gertrude.
Oh, receive it. Oh, I'm so excited. I really am. I am really. If I don't tell you the news immediately, I'll simply burst. I'll actually burst. I can't keep it a secret another minute. I really can't. You've never heard anything like it.
Yes, well, will I ever hear anything about it?
Oh, Miss Greenwood, I can hardly believe it. But a sailor stopped me on the street just now. He actually did. I was simply flabbergasted at the question he asked me. He wanted to know where he could find you.
Me?
Hey, did he have a lot of silver ribbons? Oh, his whole chest was just covered with them. That's the one, Aunt Charlotte.
Well, why would he be looking for me? He doesn't even know my name.
Oh, yes, he does. Yeah, I told him your name this afternoon. Oh, you better hurry. He's on his way to your house now. Oh, Miss Greenwood, why are sailors so wonderful?
A sailor knows the 7 C's. The C's he's always doing. Caressing, courting, cinching, clutching, clinging, cuddling, cooing. Don't ring, Robert. I have my keys.
Hello there.
Sylvester, you see a sailor?
Yeah. Often.
Oh, Sylvester, he means, has a sailor been here?
Yeah.
Here in this room?
Oh, yeah.
Well, where is he now?
Gone.
Gone? You let him leave here?
Yeah.
Well, where did he go?
Out to the kitchen.
Oh, for goodness sake, Sylvester, why didn't you say so?
Looked mighty hungry, and I had the fixins, so I fixed them.
That's him, Aunt Charlotte.
Oh, good evening, young man.
Gee, are you Miss Greenwood?
In the flesh, what there is of it. I guess you've met my nephew, Robert Barton.
Hi.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. You see, I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going to go. Everything was going wrong, and I didn't know what to do next. And then I finally remembered Robert told me his aunt, Charlotte Greenwood, you could help me. Miss Greenwood, my name's Joe Smith. I've got a problem. I'm desperate, and I've got to find my wife.
Well, you will. Calm down and tell me all about her. I understand you hadn't seen her since last spring.
That's right, ma'am, and our letters haven't been getting through. So all I know is that she told the neighbor she was coming here to Lakeview.
And you've looked all over town?
Oh, high and low, every hotel and room and house, the Y, the service organizations, every place.
Gee, it sure is a problem. Like Jerry said, we've got to get all the angles.
You know, Robert, I think you've got something there. Joe, exactly when was the last time you saw your wife?
At the end of March, last spring.
Last spring?
Mm-hmm.
That's one angle we've completely overlooked. Joe, I think I know where your wife is.
You do?
Uh-huh. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be greatly surprised, but if I'm right,
yeah,
you're going to have the greatest surprise of your life.
Lakeview General Hospital, good evening. Yes, sir, I'll tell the head nurse. Goodbye. Why, Charlotte, I didn't realize that was you standing there.
No, you didn't.
No, I thought the boy had brought in our Christmas tree.
Who is that, Charlotte? You don't look like a tree.
She doesn't. Ask her about that time she was up north in that lumber camp.
What happened to that, Charlotte?
Oh, I was walking along and I tripped, and as I was falling, everybody shouted, "Timber!" Now, Matilda, suppose you tell me what you're doing here.
Charlotte, you know I'm a nurse's aide, and the hospital needs help as much on Christmas Eve as any time, but what in the world are you doing here?
Well, Robert and I and this young man, we would like to look at babies, Matilda.
Babies?
Babies? You mean my wife?
What is it just dawning on you, Joe? Well, lead the way, Matilda.
Ward's right this way, Charlotte. There. You can see them through the glass panel. There's a name on each crib. I guess one named Smith.
Hey, there's a baby next over there. There's a name. There's a Smith.
Smith over there.
There's another Smith over there.
Gosh, it's raining Smith.
How many babies have I got?
Young man, did it ever occur to you that there's more than one family named Smith?
Robert, let's go out and Robert, I want to ask you something.
What, Charlotte?
Why were you so anxious? Why were you so anxious to have this baby?
I don't know, Charlotte. I just was going to find out who I had. I guess it wouldn't make much sense if I told you. It was all kind of mixed up like that. Anything I'd like to think that anything you have to
What your big nose again, son, because it shows that you're trying to win the face on us. The goodwill toward them. The gift that turns into a heart through goodwill. Strangers. Even a stranger. Oh, good, Joe. And the baby?
Just one baby. It's a boy. Oh, you should see it. It's a very unusual child. Oh, gee whiz, they gave me the cipher to fix. Let's see now, how does it go?
Well, it's very simple. You just fold this corner over here.
Then you fold the right corner over to the left.
That's right.
Put a pin in here. Then you tuck this corner in and then close the pin. There, how does that look, Miss Greenwood?
Well, it looks fine on you, but how will it look on the baby?
I guess it'll be all right. Well, I got to get back.
Hey, wait a minute. Here's something for the baby. The Christmas present.
Oh, thanks, son. And, well, Miss Greenwood, I'm a little excited now, and I don't quite know how to say it, but I want to thank you for all you've done.
Oh.
Making me a father. I mean, well, I'll do the same for you someday. Well, anyway, we're going to name the baby Charlie after you. Well, I'll see you later, Miss Greenwood. And thanks, Robert, for the present.
Why, Robert, you gave him the ice skates.
Oh, the baby can use them when he grows up. Everybody ought to have a Christmas present. That little boy you bought the skates for, he'll have other presents.
But, Robert, those skates were for you.
I know, Aunt Charlotte. I knew it all the time.
Son, the day after Christmas, you and I are going out to buy 2 pairs of skates. 1 pair for you and 1 pair for me, and we're going to go out skating together.
Gee, but are you sure you want to go skating, Aunt Charlotte? You said you always fall.
Yes, Robert, but you're the one young man in all this world that I'd really be glad to fall for.
Merry Christmas, Aunt Charlotte.
Merry Christmas, Robert.
Gee, that sailor was sure happy. He said it was an unusual baby.
All babies are unusual, Robert. You were a very unusual baby.
Were you, Aunt Charlotte?
I was the most unusual baby.
How so?
I was the only baby in history whose legs were longer than the stork.
Greenwood will be back in a moment. Meanwhile, may I remind you again, the next time you buy a card for any occasion, look on the back for the identifying name Hallmark. Hallmark. Like sterling on silver, the word Hallmark is your assurance of finest quality. It tells your friends you cared enough to send the very best. Yes, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. And now, Charlotte Greenwood.
Friends, we'll all be hearing often through the coming holidays those two words, Merry Christmas, spoken many different ways. We will hear them said with feeling, filled with warmth and friendly glow. Then again, they'll be as casual as good morning or hello. We'll even hear them uttered like a record or machine. Merely two words, quick and careless, with no thought of what they mean. Friends, let's never be forgetting Christmas means the day of Christ. Let no hint of that great meaning, even once, be sacrificed. Let's remember it's the birthday of the mighty Prince of Peace, and his kingdom, and his glory, and his power will never cease. Put that meaning in your greeting. Let it ring forever true. That's the kind of Merry Christmas that I'm wishing all of you. And now, until next Sunday at the very same time, this is Charlotte Greenwood saying, so long, friends, until we meet again. So long, neighbors, till next Sunday, I just say, oh, Lord. So long.
This is Wendell Niles speaking. Hallmark Television Show brings to you from Hollywood. Hallmark Television Show is written by Don Johnson, Bill Cole, and Hi Alexander.
And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mac Carroll of the Metropolitan Opera.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious
what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Now the ground is white. Go it while you're young. Take the girls tonight and sing this sleighing song. Just get a bobtail nag, 240 for his speed. Then hitch him to an open sleigh and crack, you'll take the lead. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
climax of the year. All the other days add up to this one great day when people everywhere join in glad tidings. The herald angel sings joy to the world. God rest you merry, gentlemen. Merry Christmas. From all of us to all of you, a very Merry Christmas.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Evans and Mac Harrell for being with us to celebrate this first peacetime Christmas. Next week we hang out the latch string for a lusty, lovable lady celebrating her 40th anniversary in show business, Miss Sophie Tucker. Martha Tilton will be with us as usual, and Johnny Thompson will join the Radio Hall of Fame Orchestra and Choir. With a good, solid grip on the baton will be the Dean of Modern American Music, Paul Whiteman. Don't miss Philco's other program, The Breakfast Club with John McNeil, Monday through Friday over these same stations. Glenn Riggs speaking. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The United States Steel Corporation, 500,000 employees and stockholders, presents the Theater Guild on the Air. The United States Steel Corporation presents the Theater Guild, one of America's foremost theatrical producers, bringing into your home every Sunday evening from the stage of the Vanderbilt Theater in New York the most famous plays of Broadway. Tonight, as a special Christmas offering, we bring you Louisa May Alcott's beloved story, Little Women, starring Katharine Hepburn as Jo and featuring Oscar Homolka as the Professor, John Lodge as Brooke, Frances Reed as Meg, Judith Parrish as Amy, Susan Douglas as Beth, and Elliot Reed as Laurie. And here is Lawrence Langner, co-director with Teresa Helburn of the Theater Guild, to tell you something about the play and the players. Mr. Langner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure most of you listening tonight remember Jo, Amy, Beth, and Meg, the four March girls immortalized by Louisa May Alcott in Little Women. Their shy romances and courage and adversity have endeared them to generations of Americans. Little Women is classified as fiction, but it's pretty common knowledge that Miss Alcott was writing about her own family. And of course, in the case of the resolute, auburn head Jo, she was writing about herself. I can think of no more fitting play for Christmas than Little Women, because in tender fashion, in the fashion of 3/4 of a century ago, it's a simple and eloquent argument for kindness and goodwill. I think it's fitting, too, that tonight Katharine Hepburn should play Jo, a role in which she was most successful on the screen. Kate Hepburn is a great favorite with the Theatre Guild. I'm sure many of you enjoyed her in our stage productions of Jane Eyre, The Philadelphia Story, and Without Love. Our cast tonight also includes Oscar Homolka, one of the stars of the Broadway success I Remember Mama. He plays the part of the professor. And now the curtain rises on Little Women.
Late afternoon on a Christmas day many years ago in Civil War times. We're in New England, in the home of the March family. By the light of the fire, we can see 4 girls grouped together. 3 are sitting rather primly in their chairs sewing, but the 4th is lying on the floor with her long legs, dressed in pantalettes, stretched out. She reminds you a little of a healthy young colt. Looking up at the ceiling, she says,
Christopher Columbus is awful to be poor. I don't like it one bit.
That's Joe.
Joe, I wish you wouldn't lie on the floor. The time comes when we have to put aside such romping ways. And please, don't say Christopher Columbus.
That's Meg, a proper young lady very conscious of the approach of womanhood.
Still, Joe's right. It isn't fair for some girls to have pretty things. Pretty boots, pretty gloves, pretty petticoats, and pretty handkerchiefs, and for us to have nothing.
And that's Amy, a little vain and fond of luxury.
Still, we have each other, and we have Mommy, and we have Father, even though he's far away.
And that's Beth, who loves her piano and is a ray of sunshine in the house. And there, grouped together on a Christmas day in Civil War times, are the Little Women.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy.
How well I remember it. It seems so long ago. Father was away serving as a chaplain to the armies at the front. Mommy had tried all the harder to make it like one of the old Christmases. She'd fixed us a wonderful Christmas breakfast. Sausages, popovers, pie. But at the last moment, we learned about a family who were even harder up than we. So we took them our breakfast. And then it didn't seem like Christmas at all. And for a while we just sat, feeling glum. But then something happened, a great event in our lives. The doorbell rang. We looked at each other, wondering. Mommy went to the door.
Yes?
How do you do? Mr. Lawrence next door sends his compliments. He heard about your children giving away their breakfast, so he sent this by way of appreciation and to make up for what they've done.
Why, it's...
Open it.
They'll like it. It's awfully good. Goodbye.
Children, look, a dinner for you. Cranberry ice cream. Oh, to think that Mr. Lawrence sent
They
it.
hardly know us.
They've never even paid the slightest attention to us.
We've never even spoken with them.
I'm sure it was all the boy's idea since he brought it.
Oh,
he did look nice.
What does it all mean?
Maybe it means they want to know us better.
That's what we hoped. Because for years we'd looked across longingly toward the fine Lawrence home next door. But the days went by and we heard no more from the Lawrences. Then one gray afternoon, the 4 of us were together. Meg, Amy, Beth, and I. Amy was drawing. Meg and Beth were knitting.
I do feel properly sad. I'm as sad and drippy as the day. So am I.
Christopher Columbus, I'm going to do something.
Joe, such slang.
I like strong words that mean something. And strong actions, too.
What are you going to do,
I
Joe?
don't know, but something. Are we going to sit here and be dismal?
What else can we do?
Believe me, when I'm a famous authoress and have made a lot of money from my stories, I'm not going to sit around feeling mopey and sighing and waiting for things to come to us. I'm going after whatever we want and deserve and should have.
Have you finished the story you were going to send away, Joe?
Almost. A couple of pages more and it'll be finished.
What else is going to happen?
Oh, just that... Well, Hugo gets a potion from the witch to make Zara love him, and another to kill Roderigo. The potions are switched. Hugo dies in agony. Then Roderigo in his cell tears his chains apart in a spasm of rapture and goes to confront Don Pedro. Don Pedro runs a sword through him. Roderigo rolls dead down the circular stairway, and Don Pedro hurls himself from the parapet to the rocks below. It's just a matter of cleaning up loose ends. 2 pages will do it.
Oh, it'll be wonderful. Joe, it's the best you've ever read. You ought to write a sequel.
She can't. The characters are all dead, lying on rocks and parapets.
I can easily think up more characters.
I wish the stories were a little more tender sometimes. Rodrigo never even had a chance to express his love for Zara.
Oh, we can assume they love each other. I want action, not love. Makes me sick the way women behave in stories.
How do they behave?
Dreadfully. First they blush all over the place. That means love has done its fatal work. Then the lovers start having keepsakes that they moon over. It's all disgusting.
Joe, such language.
I hope none of us ever start behaving that way. You remember that, girls, because if you do, I'll hate you. I'll just hate you.
If only things could happen in life like they do in stories. The nice things.
Well, why can't they? It's a matter of making them happen. Now, for instance, that house over there, the Lawrence mansion. That's what I was thinking about.
What about?
What do you mean?
Well, now, look, see up there? The Lawrence boy is sitting in the solarium again.
Yes.
All bundled up. Laurie, they call him. He's been shut up since Christmas with a cold or something.
His old grandfather's awfully strict with him.
I know, makes him study all the time, poor fellow. Looks like fun, too. His tutor will be in a little while, and they'll sit there with his lessons from 4 till 6. I've watched them.
There are 4 men over there. A grandfather, a tutor, a boy, and a butler.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pay him a visit right now.
Joe, of all the improper suggestions.
Well, why not, Meg? We've lived next to them for years.
But we don't know them. We haven't been introduced.
I'm sure they want to know us. Why else would they send us that Christmas
That
feast?
was very kind of them, and Mommy has written to thank them.
Does it have to end there? Oh, it makes me angry. Now, look. I'm going to get a dish of blancmange, and I'll simply go over...
Joe, if you ever do such an unladylike thing...
What'll you do?
Mommy will be mortified.
She's often said it's nice to be neighborly, and I'm going to be neighborly.
Joe!
Anybody want to come?
Don't you dare. It's wrong. It's rash. It isn't nice.
Christopher Columbus, I'm going.
Master Lawrence, will you now explain to me the circumstances of Cataline's conspiracies as revealed in the orations of Cicero?
Cataline's conspiracy. Catiline conspired with some other people, didn't he?
Yeah, correct so far. Continue.
Let's see. Cicero...
Master Lawrence, your eye keeps wandering to the window of the house next door. Please keep your mind on your lesson.
I'm sorry, sir. It looks so jolly over there. At the window where the flowers are, they seldom close the curtains, and all grouped around like that with the light from the fire, it looks so cheerful.
Yes, no doubt. Continue.
Yes, sir. Catiline...
By Jove. That is a pleasing picture over there. The family group around the hearth.
Yes, sir.
Delightful. Now then, what were we talking about?
The rivers of France.
Oh, yes. Please name the 4 chief rivers of France.
No, we weren't, sir.
Huh?
We were talking about Catiline.
Catiline?
Yes,
sir. Oh, yes. Yes?
Pardon me, Mr. Brooke, but a young lady from next door is here and says she's come to visit Master Lawrence.
What?
She has some blancmange with her.
Oh, jolly. Can't we let her in?
But Mr. Lawrence has given strict orders that the young master is to stay in the solarium and see no one except you, sir, for his lesson.
Quite right, he has. Until you're absolutely better.
But I'm all right, sir.
We'll have to say Master Lawrence is not receiving the master's orders.
I've told her. So now she insists on seeing the master. She says the orders are a great mistake, and she wants to tell him so.
Good heavens.
I think you'd better talk to her, Mr. Brooke.
I'd better. Master Lawrence, please stay here. Is there anything I can do for you, miss?
Yes, sir, there is. I'd like to speak to Mr. Lawrence, please.
Well, he's in his study, and we never disturb him in his study.
Are you afraid of him?
Miss, we obey his instructions.
Which is his study? Because I'd like to speak to him a moment, and I'll go in myself, if you don't
Well,
mind.
really, I don't think that is,
Why are you all so afraid of him? I'm sure he's really a kind man at heart. I'm not afraid of him because he's already shown. that he...
What's this? Who's not afraid of who?
Oh, Mr. Lawrence, I don't...
Mr. Lawrence, we were just talking about you.
Indeed?
Yes, sir. I was saying I was sure you were really a kind man at heart. After all, you sent us that wonderful dinner at Christmas time and...
Ah, yes, my grandson's idea.
Well, I know that your grandson has been sick, and so I brought over some blancmange we made this morning. It'll slide down his throat easily and...
How charming of you. Mr. Brooke, why are you standing here in the hall arguing with this young lady?
Well, sir, I don't know.
Everybody seemed to think I'd broken the rules of the household, so I wanted to talk to you, Mr. Lawrence. Sir, don't you think you're really too strict with the boy?
Miss March, I really think that
Just a second, Mr. Brooke. Let her go on.
You see, I think you have too many rules here. Your grandson so seldom gets out, and he studies so hard. Now, if he could come to our house for tea now and then and have some fun, I'm sure it would do him good.
So you think I'm too harsh with him, eh? And you're not afraid of me. Well, bless you. Maybe I do watch over him like an old grandmother. You see, we lost his father and mother long ago, and so he's my responsibility. But I'm sure no harm could come to him in that delightful home of yours. So I'll tell you what. Tomorrow the boy shall come to you for tea, if he won't be in the way.
Indeed, he won't.
You're very kind to invite him. And now, Mr. Brooke, will you escort this young lady safely back to her house?
I'm not a young lady, sir, and I don't need to be escorted.
Nonsense. You shan't go alone. Mr. Brooke.
Yes, sir. My arm, Miss March?
Well...
Give my regards to your family, Miss March.
Oh, I will indeed, sir. Don't you think it's a little silly escorting me 40 yards across the lawn to my own house?
Well, we couldn't let you go alone.
I've been running around here since I was a child.
Yes, but you're not a child now, miss. That is hardly.
Oh, look out for that ice, Mr. Brooke.
Oh, thank you.
You're Master Lawrence's tutor, aren't you, sir?
Yes, I am.
You must be very learned.
Well, the more one learns, the more one finds to be learned, Miss March.
How true that must be.
Miss March, you are the second of the 4 sisters?
Yes, I'm Joe. The oldest is Meg.
Oh, yes.
She's the pretty one with the blonde hair. She's lovely.
Meg. Oh, yes.
Well, here we are, Mr. Brooke. It was nice of you to...
Joe, did you actually...
Meg, dear. I'd like you to meet Mr. Brooke, Master Lawrence's tutor.
How do you do?
How do you do? I'm charmed. And now I must return. Good day, Miss March, and, Miss March.
Good day, Mr.
Good day, Mr. Brooke, and, thank you.
Joe, how could you? How could you?
Oh, Meg, they were awfully nice to me. Really, Meg. Why, Meg, you're blushing. From that day on, we saw quite a bit of the Lawrence family. The boy Laurie often came to our house. But I couldn't have foreseen then all that my neighborly visit would lead to. One spring day in the garden with Laurie, I was reading him a story I'd just finished.
Go on.
The Count stood as one changed to stone, and turning to the bewildered crowd, Ferdinand added, with a mysterious smile upon his lips, "To you, my gallant friends, I can only wish that your wooing may prosper as mine has done, and that you may all win as fair a bride as I have by my... masked marriage."
Joe, it's capital. Christopher Columbus.
I took it to the newspaper office yesterday. Nobody in the family knows I'm to hear the editor's verdict next week.
Josephine March, a real author.
If they use that story, they'll pay me $1.50 for it. In time, I can help support the family.
And now I have a secret for you.
Well, out with it.
Oh, this is rich. You promised not to tell.
Come on now.
Well, you remember last week Meg was looking for a glove she lost?
At the party you gave, yup.
Well...
Have you found it?
No, but,
Why are you so mysterious?
I know where it is.
Where?
Well...
Come on, tell me.
Mr. Brooke.
What about him?
His pocket.
You mean Mr. Brooke has it in his pocket?
His inside pocket. Mm-hmm. I caught him looking at it this morning. When I came in the room, he quickly stuffed it away and looked in the other direction. Well, what do you think?
But they've hardly ever spoken.
Well, that's not necessary.
I think it's dreadful.
Why, what's the matter?
It's awful. I don't know why you think it's so funny.
Oh, I thought it was jolly. I thought you'd be pleased.
Pleased? Oh, I hate this sort of thing. Love a business. I hate it.
I thought I was bringing you some plummy news.
Don't you see, Laurie? Our family's always been so close. We mean so much to each other. And now this means it's all going to change. If Meg leaves, it'll never be the same. It'll all break up and... Oh, I hope she doesn't go.
Joe, why should you feel that way?
I do, that's all.
Joe?
Yes, Mommy?
Could you come in the house a minute?
All right, Mommy.
There's something I must tell you.
Amy, Beth, come downstairs. Family meeting. Coming.
What's it about?
I don't know. Don't you know?
No, what is it, Mommy?
Well, you'll hear in a moment.
Coming. What's it about? We're all here now.
You look worried, Mommy.
Children, I want you to be brave. It's about your father.
Oh,
Father?
Mommy.
A telegram has just come.
A telegram?
Your husband is very ill in Washington Hospital.
Oh.
Please come at once.
Oh, Mommy.
Now, don't cry, children. Now, above all, we must think clearly and quickly and face our tasks. I must leave for Washington tonight to be with your father. The train goes at 8 o'clock. Don't cry, Beth.
I won't, Mommy.
Joe, I've written a letter to Aunt March. For your father, I'm not ashamed to beg from our relatives. I've asked her for money for the trip here. Without it, I can't afford to go. Will you take it and do all you can to persuade her?
She'll croak about it something awful. She has such a temper.
I know, but we must try.
I'll go, Mommy.
Meg, I want you to get my black leather trunk from the attic.
What's this? A trip to Washington? Stuff and nonsense.
Aunt March, you must
I
please.
always said it was foolishness, your father trotting off to war.
Aunt March, I beg you.
I told him wars are won by soldiers, not chaplains.
Aunt March, listen, please.
Now, maybe next time he'll listen to me and not go off, leaving others to look after his family and treat them to trips to Washington.
Aunt March, you have no right to put it that way. Father is sick.
Silence, girl, and mend your manners. Trip to Washington, I say again, rubbish, stuff and nonsense.
Mommy, why isn't Joe back yet?
I can't imagine. I'm beginning to get worried. What can she be doing, children?
I don't know.
She's been gone so long.
I have to go soon.
Oh, isn't it just like Joe suddenly to disappear when... Oh, the door.
I'll answer it.
Madam,
Oh, yes, Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Lawrence, hearing of your trip, has just commissioned me to go to Washington to transact for him certain necessary business there. And, since we shall be traveling on the same train, he instructed me to place myself at your disposal and offer myself as escort for the journey. Whatever I can, I shall do, both on the journey and in Washington.
Oh, Mommy.
How generous. Will you thank Mr. Lawrence? I accept gratefully.
Oh, I am glad, madam.
You don't know how reassuring this is to us, Mr. Brooks.
I am happy to be of service, Miss Meg.
The journey to Washington can be a fearful experience, I'm told.
Oh, yes.
The constant shaking in the dust and the spring rain.
Yes, indeed.
Sometimes there are floods, I know, and whole bridges collapsing.
And portions of the track washed away and simply disappearing.
And just knowing that you will be watching over Mother will be a great comfort.
Thank you, Miss Meg, and may I say...
Mommy! Oh, Joe, there you are, dear.
Oh, thank goodness I'm on time. Oh, Mommy, Aunt March was simply dreadful. She simply said no, just a flat no, so
But dear, she did send money over. One of her maids brought it. She must have changed her mind. She sent enough for the train fare.
Oh, she did? Well, you're going to need a lot more than that, and this'll help you. You can buy something Father needs with it.
With what, dear?
Here, take it.
Heavens, Joe!
$25.
$25? Why, Joe!
My word.
Wherever did you get it?
Look.
Oh, Joe, your hair, your beautiful hair.
Yup. I sold it to the wig maker. He gave me that for it. Snipped it right off.
Joe, it was your crowning glory.
No man will ever be stirred by you now.
Oh, well, what do I care for such nonsense? Father is sick. He needs help. I wanted to help him. Besides, it'll do my brains good to get that mop off them.
Joe, how can you say that about your hair?
Oh, Joe, let me hug you, girl. It was a fine thing you did to sacrifice your greatest beauty.
Now, Mommy, you'd better be going for the train.
Oh, Joe, that impetuous spirit of yours that leads to such kind, impulsive deeds. It could also lead to trouble. Watch it when I'm gone, girl.
Yes, Mommy.
Meg, dear, my womanly Meg, your heart rules your head. See that it doesn't when it shouldn't.
I shall, Mommy.
Beth, your only fault is fear of what lies before you. Have courage, Beth.
I will, Mommy.
Amy, we all think so well of you that you sometimes think too well of yourself. Be careful.
Yes, Mommy.
Now, I must leave you. Be what your father wanted you to be. His little women.
So for the first time in our lives, we were left alone. News came from Washington that Father was improving, and we breathed more easily. Mr. Brooks sent us stiff little bulletins every day, signed,
Your faithful and obedient servants, John Brooke.
Meg read them aloud over and over again, including the signature. And so, though they were miles apart, this threat to our family seemed to grow and grow, and my heart stood still with fear as I watched her. Then Meg, Amy, and I were sitting at home early one evening. Beth was out, but Laurie was with us.
Joe, stop gloating over that check.
Oh, how can I help it? $1.50. It'll pay for some medicine for Father.
Of course.
And the next time, they'll give me more.
Now, this is what I would call a snippy nose.
Amy, what on earth are you doing?
Is she at that business again? Amy, I wish you wouldn't.
What is it?
I'm drawing noses.
What?
I don't like my nose.
So she spends time drawing noses she'd like to have if she could choose a different one.
Now, here's an upsy-daisy little nose that I don't like, but some men might.
Amy, really? Talking about men and whether they'll like you.
Horrid, isn't she?
I know you don't like love.
Now, girls, really.
Beth is back.
Why is she knocking? That's funny. I'll open it. Well, come in. What's the matter?
Stand back. Don't come near me.
What is it?
You stand back and I'll come in.
All right.
What is it, Bessie?
Mercy, Beth, tell us.
I went to the Hummers again. Family mother was looking after the baby has been sick. Tonight I held her while Mrs. Hummel went for the doctor. She died in my arms.
Oh.
You poor girl.
Oh, Amy hasn't had scarlet fever. She must stand back.
Heavens.
Have you had it, Laura?
Yes, I have.
So have I.
Beth, you've been over there 3 times this week, haven't you?
Yes, I have a fever. Doctor told me to come home at once.
Bethy, darling, sit down. Your head is like an oven. I'm afraid... Amy, you've got to leave now. Go to Aunt March.
I don't want to.
You must. You've got to.
But I don't want to
Amy,
leave.
please be...
Come, Joe. We've got to get Beth to bed.
Yes, come on, Bethy, to your room.
I'm all right.
Come, dear. We'll help you.
That's it. We'll get you into bed, dear. We'll get you into
They're
bed.
right, Amy. You've got to leave.
Can't I help?
Not here, you can't. Why, if you get it too, it'd be a catastrophe. This is a bad thing.
Still, I wish
Now, Amy, look, you can help most by going. Look, I'll follow the example of the worthy Mr. Brooke. I'll put myself in charge of bulletins, and every day I'll drop in on you and let you know how things are.
Will you, Laurie?
Why, of course. And I'll do even more. I'll bring you surprises.
Oh.
I'll bring you a flower from our garden every day. And I'll bring you pictures of handsome men and women with interesting noses.
Do you promise, Laurie?
Of course.
Well, I'll go then.
Good girl.
Laurie.
Yes, Joe?
Laurie. Could you go for our doctor, Dr. Bangs?
Of course, at once. Look, Amy's going to be sensible and go to your aunt's.
I'm glad, Amy.
I'll go right
now. Wait
now.
a minute. Before you go, one thing. We mustn't write a word to Mommy. If we did, she'd come at once and leave Father. That would be dreadful.
I'm afraid she would.
So not a word. Oh, I could lash myself. If I hadn't been so intent on my stories, I'd have been going to the Hummels instead of Beth. Each time, all 3 of us left it to her.
Joe, don't blame yourself.
We'll make it up if we can.
Joe, if there's anything I can do, please understand. All I want is to help you. In every possible way.
Oh, thanks, Laurie. The crisis came a week later. Beth was very sick. And one day, as she lay on her bed, mumbling incoherently, we finally sent a wire to Mommy. We waited anxiously for her to come. That night, none of us slept. Mr. Lawrence paced in the living room downstairs. Laurie lay on the hearthrug. Meg and I stayed in the room with Beth, sleeping in turns at the foot of her bed. The hours went by.
What's she doing? with her hands. Look.
She's playing the piano on the bed covers.
Can you tell the tune?
It's what she always played. Sing it to her, Meg. She's smiling, Meg.
Oh, Meg, don't. I'm so wicked, Joe.
No, you're not, Meg.
I am. That day Beth went to the Hummels when I wouldn't go. It was because I wanted to sit home and read Mr. Brooks' letters over and over. It was wicked of me.
Meg.
I've only talked to him 3 or 4 times. Mother said that my heart rules my head. She was right. Oh, Joe, if Beth gets better, I'll never let myself have such thoughts again.
Don't say that, Meg.
God, help Beth get better. There's nothing I won't do. Amen.
Meg, she's breathing more easily. Her forehead is cooler. She's sleeping naturally. The change has come, Meg.
Oh.
There's the carriage.
It's stopping at our door.
That's Mommy, and there's Father, too. They've come.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, Meg, they've come in time.
The curtain has fallen on the first act of the Theatre Guild production of Little Women, presented by U.S. Steel and starring Katharine Hepburn. Before our play continues, here is George Hicks with a Christmas message.
The night was dark and cold, and there was snow on the hills of Judea as a weary man led a donkey into the outskirts of a town in southern Palestine. He and his wife had come a long way. According to the Romans, the date was 754. According to our calendar, it was 1 day B.C., and the man and his wife were named Joseph and Mary. Through the crowded streets of Bethlehem, they went to the inn, but it was filled and there was no room for them. So they took refuge in the only place they could find, a warm stable. And there in the stable, a boy was born. A manger was his crib. At about that time, 3 wise men entered the city of Jerusalem. They said that they'd been led by a star out of the east to find the newborn child who would be king of his people. And they bore gifts of gold and incense for the infant. The 3 wise men were directed to Bethlehem because an ancient prophecy had foretold the birth of the ruler there. In the stable, as the happy parents were admiring their firstborn, shepherds came, bringing presents. They told how they'd been tending their sheep on the hills around Bethlehem when an angel appeared and said, "I bring you tidings of great joy. This day is born a Savior, Christ the Lord." The angel had sent them to the stable. And then the sky was filled with angels saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men."
Glory to God! Glory to God in the highest! And peace on earth. Goodwill toward men, Lord, men.
We pause now for station identification.
You're listening to KECA Los Angeles.
The curtain rises on the second act of Louisa M. Alcott's classic story, Little Women, starring Katharine Hepburn as Jo and featuring Oscar Homolka as Professor Baird, John Lodge as Brooke, Frances Reed as Meg, Judith Parrish as Amy, Susan Douglas as Beth, and Elliot Reed as Laurie. It's a few weeks later in the home of the Marches.
Get ready, Bethy. Here comes Father now. Oh, Daddy comes marching home again. Hooray, hooray. Daddy comes marching home again. Hooray, hooray. The girls will sing and the boys will shout and the ladies, they will all turn out and all feel gay when Daddy comes marching home.
To think I've heard my four girls singing together again. How good that sounded with my little Beth at the piano again. Are you all right, Beth?
Oh, yes, Father.
But now Father and Bethy are going back to bed. Come, Beth.
Yes, Mommy. It was so good to get up and all be together again.
The most joyful reunion party that ever happened.
Now you must rest, both of you.
We'll go with you, Beth.
Thanks, Meg. Amy.
Come here.
Coming.
Joe, why so solemn-faced about a celebration?
It's wonderful they're both getting well.
Well, then why the gloomy countenance?
This house is full of suspense and foreboding. There's an unfinished matter to be settled. It hangs over us like a sword.
You mean Brooke and Meg?
Yes. Mommy came back calling Mr. Brooke John.
Really?
Down in Washington, he spoke to her and Father, wondered if he might, at the proper time, address his attentions to Miss Margaret. They said yes.
Wonderful. Well, have you finally reconciled yourself to the idea?
Of course I haven't. I hate it.
Why, Joe, do you want me to make you a wager? I'll wager you'll be next, Joe.
Please, Laurie, don't say that. Don't you see what's happening? Our whole family is going to smash.
Don't be so melodramatic about it, Joe. I guess I'd better let you get over your gloom, so I'll clear out. What? Joe, look there in the hall. Old Brooke left his umbrella in your umbrella stand. The sly dog. I'm sure it's an excuse to come back at the proper moment.
Miss Margaret.
Oh, Mr. Brooke.
Forgive the intrusion. I hope it's not untimely. I came to inquire about your father. That is, I came for my umbrella. That is,
He's in the umbrella stand. I mean, it's doing very nicely, thank you.
Oh, Miss March. It's so good to see you laughing and happiness returning to this home.
We owe much of it to you, sir.
Oh, does that mean that I might share in this joy?
One surely deserves the happiness one brings to others.
Margaret,
Mr. Brooke.
Are you afraid of me, Margaret?
How can I be afraid of one who's been so good to Father?
Margaret, do you suppose, is it possible? Can it be? Oh, Margaret, I love you. I love you.
Now, look, Joe, I've been trying to talk to you.
I know you have,
You
Laurie.
keep running away from me.
I know I do.
Now, sit still for a moment, Joe. We've got to have this out.
No, let's not, Laurie. We're such good friends. Don't you see?
I don't see. That's just what I mean. Oh, look, Joe. After a little more schooling, Grandfather's going to put me to work in one of his offices and...
Laurie, please don't go on.
But this is what I've been trying to say.
I wish you wouldn't.
Joe, for months I've been in and out of this house. Do you think I had any reason for coming except to see you? I love you, Joe. Won't you marry me?
That's what I was afraid of.
Why?
Oh, Laurie, I didn't want it to come to this. I so much wanted that you shouldn't get hurt. You've meant so much to me that...
But that's what I mean, Joe. What we mean to each other.
Laurie, I don't love you.
Well, couldn't you learn to?
No. Love doesn't come that way. I'm so terribly sorry.
Well, this is kind of a jolt. I've banked on this for such a long time.
You mustn't anymore, Laurie.
This isn't something a person can just put aside. I'll ask you again, Joe.
And so you see, Mommy, I've got to get away.
Away?
I'm so horrid and restless, and with things as they are with Laurie, I've got to leave.
What do you want to do, dear?
Mommy, you remember that Mrs. Kirk and her 2 children? She went to New York to start a boarding home.
Yes?
Well, I thought I might write to her and ask for a position as governess. Then I could be in New York and get more ideas for stories. I've sold 3 stories now, and I'm sure I could get along. That's what I want to do, Mommy. I've got to get away.
Perhaps it would be best for both you and Laurie.
Poor Laurie. I feel as if I'm stabbing my best friend.
Well, I want you to value your freedom till you tire of it, because only then will you learn there is something better.
Oh, thank you, Mommy. You see, I want action, not love.
I wrote to Mrs. Kirk, and she gave me a position. I arrived in New York on a clear fall day, and I felt the world was before me. My room was a skylight room with a simple bare table to work at. Mrs. Kirk's children were a handful, but my evenings were my own, and then I worked like a demon. At first, I didn't speak very much to other people at the boarding house. But one day, a man was playing a piano in the parlor. I stopped, standing in the doorway, listening. He was an Austrian professor.
Oh, excuse me. I did not see you.
Oh, please don't stop. It's so beautiful. What's the name of it? I'd so love to send it to my sister Beth.
The music is Tchaikovsky for a poem by Goethe. Nur wer die Sehnsucht kennt, weiß, was ich leide.
Nur wer die
Wait, I give you in English. None but the lonely heart can know my sorrow. Alone and parted, far from joy and gladness, my senses fail. A burning fire devours me. None but the lonely heart can know my sadness.
My senses fail. A burning fire devours me. He means he can hardly bear the beauty in his heart because of his longing.
That is it. And Tchaikovsky felt that as you feel it. And so he makes this music that is so heartbreaking and so beautiful.
How I wish I could write something like that. Something splendid that would set other hearts on fire.
That is genius. It is not given to all that so divine gift. But you wish to write, my little friend?
Yes, I do. That's my longing. And I'm not doing too badly. I've sold 2 stories since I've been here.
That is good, good. Could I read them, perhaps?
Oh, would you? I'd so love to have your opinion.
I should be happy. You have the ardent spirit. I like that. Where have these 2 stories appeared?
A magazine, The Weekly Volcano.
Weekly Volcano? I do not think I know this.
You probably haven't come across it.
You let me have the stories. I would love to read them.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Morning, Miss March. Good morning, Mamie. Mamie, are you going in to clean the professor's room?
Try to. Kind of hopeless, if you see what I mean.
I see what you mean.
Books, papers.
Pipes and old flutes. What's that half-finished boat over there?
Something he was making for the kids. He's always making something. Come in, that's all right. Everybody walks in down here. He likes it.
Oh, no. I just wanted to leave my stories for him. Only I don't know where to put them. They'd be lost in all this.
Up there on the mantelpiece. You'll see them there.
With these books?
Sure.
Shakespeare, Dante, Homer, Plato? I wouldn't dare.
Oh, well, there they go. The Weekly Volcano, The Greek Slave, or Constantine the Avenger, etc.
Look, the poor man.
Why, he's been donning his own socks.
Sure, there ain't nothing he don't do. Always working, always helping somebody. You know what he's doing here, don't you?
No, what?
We found out by accident. He's really a famous professor from the University of Vienna, mind you. And he left that and came over here to look after his 2 orphan nephews. Oh, what he don't do for those children. Such a good man. He'd probably be in some university here, and he came not knowing much English, so he stays here and gives lessons.
Mamie, give me a couple of those socks. He needn't know. I'll fix them up, and you can slip them back when they're done. But, don't tell him, please.
Not a word.
Miss Ma? Josephine, Ma?
What is it, Mrs. Cook?
Some visitors here for you.
Oh, yes, I'll be right down.
They're in the parlor.
Amy, Joe, and Aunt Marge.
Good afternoon, Josephine.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you. What a wonderful surprise. How did it happen? What's it about? Oh, I'm so happy. Joe, you look fine.
And so do you, and you too, Aunt Marge.
Stuff and nonsense. I don't do anything of the sort. I'm an old woman, and my bones are gouty. Why should I go around looking like a young chit?
You do to me, Aunt Marge.
Rubbish, utter rubbish.
How is Mommy and Father?
And how is Bessie?
Beth is better, but she's not as rosy as she used to be.
Oh, why doesn't my Bessie get strong?
I don't know. Joe, guess where we're off to?
Where? Tell me.
Europe. Oh, Amy, how wonderful.
Yes, we're taking my old bones to Vichy to try the waters. I'm taking Amy for the trip.
Also to look after you.
Nonsense, I can look after myself. All I seem to do is to provide transportation for your impoverished family. Trips to Washington, trips to New York, trips to Europe.
You're awfully good to us, Aunt Marge.
Well, I don't mean to be. And it wouldn't be necessary if you weren't all so addle-pated. Meg gets married. She doesn't marry. A poor tutor, yes, she does. And you snub the wealthiest young man in town. Mark my words, someday you'll all learn to take my advice.
Maybe we will, Aunt Marge.
Joe, did you see Laurie when he was here?
Laurie? In New York?
You mean he didn't come to see you?
No, I never saw a sign of him.
He went on a business trip with his grandfather. They're in Paris now. Maybe we'll see them there. But he'll be back home soon.
Laurie in New York and never came to see me.
Well, what do you expect, you willful girl, after the way you treated him?
We were such good friends.
He was awfully hurt, Joe, when you left. But he still loves you. Oh, Joe, if you just let him know, somehow I know he'd...
No, Amy, it's nothing like that.
Do you want to go in my place, Joe? You ought to, really, and then maybe you'd see him.
Oh, no, of course not. I wouldn't think of it.
Well, we have to be at the steamship office before it closes. Come, Amy.
Come in. Oh, Professor.
Miss March, I have read these stories. You would like perhaps to discuss them?
Oh, yes, I would like to. Come in, won't you?
Good.
You look a little frightening. Did you like the stories?
I must be honest. I was disappointed.
You were?
Now, this, what is it called?
The Curse of the Coventrys, Constantine the Avenger?
Yes. Miss March, why do you write these artificial characters? Villains, vipers, murderesses, witches, oh, such women. Miss March, why don't you...
Well, I tried.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to hurt you. What a blundering fool I am. Forgive me.
Please, it isn't that. Don't pay any attention to me. It's just that I've made a mess of everything as I always do. But I never thought I never thought he'd come to New York.
Laurie? Is this your very good friend?
Yes, in a way. He came to New York and never even saw me. But then, why should he?
I see. And then on top of that, the professor comes blundering and makes things worse.
No. If I can't stand the truth, I'm not good for anything. I didn't think the stories were very good. But the curse of the Coventrys was the blessing of the Marches, and Constantine the Avenger paid the butcher's bill, and the Duke's daughter is going to send Beth to the mountains next summer where she ought to be,
That is what I have thought. And so I said to myself, maybe I have no right to speak. And then I have thought, no, I have no right to be silent. For look you, Miss March, you have talent.
Oh, do you really think so?
Otherwise I would not say it. But be true to that talent. Sweep mud in the street before you cheapen it. While you are young, write about the things in your heart. The brave, simple things you understand now. And maybe later, when you know the weight of sorrow on the human heart, then you can write of those poor, wretched murderers and make them live and breathe with your pen, as Shakespeare did. Look, I brought him for you. I give you this book. Between these covers is a whole library. Read it, and he will help you.
Oh, thank you. I'll try.
And you are not angry with the blundering professor who takes the wrong time for his lectures?
No, I'm so grateful. And I'm happy that you would talk to me
Mr. March, I sometimes get from a friend seats for the Academy of Music. Would you accompany me sometimes?
Oh, I'd love it. In the following weeks, we went out often together, to concerts, then to plays and museums and operas. Forgotten were the weekly volcano and the curse of the Coventrys. But instead, I was suddenly filled with the beauty of Mozart, Beethoven, Rembrandt, and Leonardo. Filled, and a little giddy, too, perhaps. I remember one evening as we came back late to the boarding house in the hall downstairs.
Oh, it is good to see you so flushed and happy.
Oh, I've had a wonderful time, Professor. I've made up my mind. I've decided to be an opera singer.
Wait, don't decide yet. After the circus, you felt a bareback ride that was the most beautiful of all careers. And after the museum, you decided to be a painter and...
But I'm going to be all of them. Oh, Professor, you're fun to be with. I wish you could meet my family. They'd enjoy you. I keep writing them all about you.
You do?
Oh, yes, and they always ask questions about you in their letters.
Indeed?
Oh, yes. For example, when... Why, look at that. A telegram for me. Mrs. Kirk must have left it here. Oh, no.
My little friend, what is it?
It's my sister, Beth. Mother says I must come home right away.
I'm very sorry.
Yes, I'll pack tonight. I'll leave on the morning train.
What can I do for you?
Well, you'll be busy with your lessons in the morning.
But when will I see you? You will be back?
Well, I don't know, Professor. You see, the writing, the weekly volcano and all that, I burned those up. There's nothing left of all that work but ashes. All that is finished. And if I'm not going to write those, I can't really afford to live here.
I can't tell you how all this grieves me.
Professor, will you come and see us sometime?
May I? Shall I?
Yes, I want you to.
Tell me, your sister and that friend in Europe, are they back yet?
They're on their way, I think.
I see.
Yes. This is awfully sudden, isn't it?
Terribly sudden.
Poor Beth. What do we hear from Amy, Mommy?
She'll be home next month. Tell me something, Joe.
What, Mommy?
Would it hurt you terribly if you learned that Laurie had learned to care for somebody else?
Amy?
Well, I was only reading between the lines. Amy's letters have said a lot about Laurie, and we've had letters from Laurie, too, full of Amy.
Laurie and Amy.
Would it hurt you terribly?
Wouldn't I be selfish if it did? Laurie and Amy. It's wonderful, isn't it, Mommy? It's right, isn't it? It's really fine.
I hope you feel that way, because that's how I think it will be.
Mommy was right. Laurie and Amy came back husband and wife, hilariously happy, knowing that they always really loved each other and always had been meant for each other. And they set up housekeeping in a beautiful little house nearby. Then there were just Beth and I.
Sit with me, Joe.
I'll never leave you, Bethie.
Joe, you always reminded me of a seagull, fond of the wind and dreaming of flying far out to sea. Mommy said I was more like a cricket, chirping contentedly at home. I guess very soon I'll be home forever.
Beth closed her eyes. She slept quietly, and she never woke again. And we laid her to rest. Then it was November. The snow fell quietly and gently in our town. Our house was very quiet. But soon there began preparations for another Christmas, and Meg and Amy, Brooke and Laurie were in and out. And I didn't know which was harder to bear, the loneliness or the laughter. I only know that I began to go for long walks. And sometimes I went up into the garret again, where I'd written my very first stories, and wrote a few words. And one time I showed them to Mommy and Father.
Why, dear, this is fine. It's
Joe,
so different.
it's beautiful.
Why, Father, you have a tear in your eye.
It's so fine, Joe.
But this isn't anything. It's nothing I've done. It's just everything about you and Mommy and Meg and Amy and Betty. Things I remembered you all saying and doing. And I sent it off, and it was printed at once. And again I went tramping through the winter snow. Only the snow was turning to sleet and rain, and the world was dismal. I was very, very lonely. Except that everywhere was the merriment of Christmas. And then, just a step from home...
Miss Joe!
Professor!
Miss Joe, I come to see you.
Oh, my friend. My friend. How did you know? How did you know I wanted to see you above all else?
I said I would come.
Yes, and you have. I hoped you would.
But what do you do without any umbrella in this terrible weather? Here, come under mine.
I will. Here
That's
I
it.
am. It's turned to rain.
And raining harder.
Come to our house is just this way. Oh, Professor, how did you happen to come?
I have been invited by a nearby college to discuss a position they offer me.
Christopher Columbus, that's fine.
Also, I read somewhere one of your stories. It made me feel you had found yourself and were no more restless and discontented.
But my name wasn't on that story.
It was about your family, no?
Yes, it was. It was.
You have told me of them, and at once I recognized them. And I knew it was you, a different you.
That's right. Thanks to you, Professor.
Oh, I've missed you so. I've been so lonely for you.
Is that true?
Yes, Professor.
Then, would it be possible?
Yes, yes.
Do you think that you and I...
Yes, Professor?
Here, hold the umbrella over you. You are getting wet.
I'm all right. Please go on with what you were saying, Professor.
This is your house?
Yes, this is our home, Professor.
They are making music inside.
Yes, they're all together.
Perhaps I'm through.
No, please don't go. Don't go. Come in, Professor.
Joe, before we go in...
Yes?
I want to ask you...
Yes.
Oh, how stupid of me. I meant to stop at some stores for presents for you and your family. And now, Joe, I come with empty arms.
Not empty now, Professor.
Joe, I love you.
Heart, dearest. Welcome home.
The curtain has fallen on the Theatre Guild production, Little Women, presented by U.S. Steel and starring Katharine Hepburn. Here again is Lawrence Langner to tell you about next week's Theatre Guild play to be presented by United States Steel. Mr. Langner.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we want to wish you all a very happy Christmas. And we send our special good wishes to all those actors and actresses who are away from their homes and families, playing in theaters all over the country and for our troops abroad. Since this is the holiday season, we have selected Walter Houston in Knickerbocker Holiday, the famous musical by Maxwell Anderson with music by Kurt Weill, for next Sunday's program. Walter Houston will play Peter Stuyvesant, the role he created on Broadway, and in which he'll sing the delightful September song, which has probably been responsible for more May and December marriages than anything on record. With Mr. Houston will be David Brooks from the Broadway success Bloomer Girl, and Jean Darling from our own musical Carousel. And now, here is Mr. Brokenshire again.
The United States Steel Corporation joins the Theater Guild on the air in wishing every one of you a very Merry Christmas, and hopes you'll be with us next week at the same time when we'll bring you Walter Houston in the musical play of Old New York, Knickerbocker Holiday. If you'd like program notes and cast lists of tonight's Theater Guild on the Air, prepared for each broadcast with information about the play and the players, simply address U.S. Steel Corporation, Radio Department, 71 Broadway, New York 6, New York. The staff for the Theater Guild on the Air includes Homer Fickett, Director, George Condolf, Producer, and Armina Marshall, Executive Director of the Radio Department. Music for tonight's play was composed and conducted by Harold Levy, and the play adapted for radio by Eric Barnow. Your announcer, Norman Brokenshire.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
It's 8 o'clock at KECA, Los Angeles.
Poor Joan ain't got nobody. She's nobody's sweetheart now. Featuring the romantic singing of Andy Russell. With a great comedy cast, including Verna Felton, Shirley Mitchell, the music of Paul Weston and his orchestra, and yours sincerely, Harry Von Zell. And here's the star of our show, America's queen of comedy, Joan Davis. Oh, no. Don't stop it. Joan. Uh-oh. Joan, listen, stop chasing the band around the studio with that piece of mistletoe. They won't kiss you. They've got a strong union. No, now, Joan, please. Hey, go away. Joan, come here now, will you? I want to talk to you.
What would you want to know, Harry?
Well, listen. Looky here.
Huh?
A
I'm having
Christmas
so
card
much
just
fun.
came for you.
A Christmas card?
Uh-huh, and it's for you, and it's the funniest looking card I ever saw. Look, it's got a picture of a cow on it.
Well, let me see it. Oh, it's from my milkman.
What does it say?
Oh, it's very beautiful. Listen.
Yeah.
Oh, pity not the lonely cow who wallows in the gutter, for she has got what you ain't got, a day's supply of butter.
Swanville, USA, December 24th. Tonight is Christmas Eve. In Swanville, as throughout the rest of the world, there is a spirit of happiness and expectancy in the air. Stockings are hung from thousands of mantelpieces waiting to be filled. But nowhere in Swanville can you find a pair of stockings that need filling more than in
Johnny's Tea Room. Joan Davis speaking. Oh, hello, Mrs. Titus. Merry Christmas. Yeah, that's right. We're giving a special Christmas party in my tea room for the kids from the county settlement house. And Mr. Weatherby, the banker, is going to play Santa Claus. Uh-huh. Last year, I was Santa Claus. I took a big feather pillow and stuffed it under my coats. Everything went fine till a little tough kid punched me right in the pillow. What happened? I snowed on him for 10 minutes.
Say, Joni,
Yeah?
shall I call the settlement house and tell them to bring the kids over?
Oh, not yet, Harry. First, we gotta wait until Mr. Weatherby gets here in his Santa Claus suit.
Oh, you know, Joni, that was a wonderful idea of yours to give the Christmas party for all those poor kids. You're so thoughtful.
Oh, thanks, Harry, but don't give me all the credit. After all, you helped, too.
Oh, what did I do? All I did was sweep out the place, buy the Christmas tree, set it up, get the ornaments, wrap the gifts, fix the wiring, mix the ice cream, write the names on the packages, and bake a layer cake.
Harry, did you put the cherry on top of the cake?
Oh, gee, I forgot.
How do you like that? Nothing gets done around here unless I do it myself. Did anyone hang up the mistletoe?
I did, Miss Davis.
Oh, fine, Andy. Where'd you put it?
You're standing right under it.
I am?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what are you waiting for?
Well, gosh,
You know, when you catch a girl standing under the mistletoe, you're supposed to kiss her.
Well, I'd like to, Miss Davis, but I've got a cold.
Oh, don't worry. I got a trunk full of penicillin.
Hey, Joan. Joan, look, I haven't got a cold, and I know what to do when a girl is standing under the mistletoe. Oh, boy, I kissed her once. I kissed her twice.
It took a short time.
Oh, listen, don't kid, Joan. Gee, after all, you know how I feel about you.
How?
Well, I'm a man, and you're a woman.
Oh, Harry, stop exaggerating.
No, listen, Joan. When my lips touched yours, I realized something that even you can't deny. It's true, I tell you, it's true.
What's true?
You use Swan soap.
Somebody told you.
No, nobody had to tell me. Such a lovely complexion must be cared for by a lovely soap. And Swan is a lovely soap that's pure as fine castiles and mild enough even for a baby's tender skin. And those Swan suds are not only mild, but they're so long-lasting, too.
Well, that's fine, Harry. Now, I gotta finish decorating the tree. Say, maybe that's Mr. Weatherby. Let him in, Andy.
Okay.
Hello, Andy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Barbara. It's Barbara Weatherby, Miss Davis.
Oh, hiya, Babs. You like the way I'm decorating the Christmas tree?
Like it? Why, it's pitiful.
Pitiful? Now, look here, Babs. I did that.
Don't. Barbara, you two shouldn't quarrel. Tonight of all nights, this is Christmas Eve.
Yes, I know, Mr. Von Zell, but I just can't stand Miss Davis' utter lack of good taste. Step aside, Miss Davis, and I'll show you how it should be done. Does anyone have a candy cane?
What do you want a candy cane for, Babs?
Well, when I decorate a tree, I always hang one on.
You always hang one on? Doesn't your father say anything?
Say anything? Why, every Christmas Eve he hangs one on, too. It's a family tradition.
That's no tradition. That's a condition.
Oh, Miss Davis.
Have you seen The Lost Weekend? Say, by the way, Babs, where is your father?
Oh, well, some important business came up, and Peter had to go to the bank.
What? Why, nothing is more important than him playing Santa Claus at this party. I can't invite those kids over until he gets here. What'll we do?
Well, now, look, don't worry, Joan. I'll go over to the bank and get Mr. Weatherby right away.
Say, Miss Davis, while we're waiting for Harry to come back, I'd like to run over a little song I arranged for the kids. I think they're going to like it.
Let's hear it, Andy.
Oh, I can't do it alone. It's a duet. I have to sing it with a girl.
Oh, how about me, Andy?
Oh, do you sing, Barbara?
Do I sing? Does a fish swim?
There's your answer. She sings like a fish.
Davis, I think...
She probably has the range of 2 octopuses.
Well, Miss...
What is the plural of octopus? Octopuses?
Of course not.
Octokittens?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It does to the octopus.
Well, as a matter of fact, Barbara, I hoped that you would play the piano when I sang this with Miss Davis.
Oh, very well.
Andy, you mean you want me to sing with you?
That's right, Miss Davis.
You really mean me? Me? M-I, me?
Yes, here's the music, Miss Davis, and wherever it says girl's part, you sing. Oh, it's really a great part. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you the best part. Here.
Oh, Andy, you're giving me the best part. Oh, you're so unselfish.
Well, are you ready?
Ready?
What key do you want this in, Miss Davis? A flat?
No, just give it to me in A. I'll flat it myself.
when the porter yells.
Massachusetts.
I'll be there with bells.
Massachusetts.
Homesick as can be.
Massachusetts.
Only place for me.
Massachusetts.
Got a special day for that New England state. How my heart will nod
Massachusetts.
to see Plymouth Rock.
Massachusetts.
Wander, roam around
Massachusetts.
in Nantucket town.
Massachusetts.
I can hardly wait to hurry through that gate. You can't guess how much it means for me to be there.
Massachusetts.
Childhood friends and childhood scenes for me to see there.
Massachusetts.
Neath blue skies above.
Massachusetts.
With the one I love.
Massachusetts.
Just like Jack and Jill.
Massachusetts.
We'll climb Bunker Hill.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
Spread the news around my Massachusetts bound.
Woo, woo, woo. Bromoseltzer, 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 bromoseltzer. Fight headache 3 ways. I'm Massachusetts bound.
The children will love that. You sing so beautifully, Andy.
Well, what about my singing, Babs?
Oh, I thought it was simply divine.
Ask a silly question and you get a silly answer. Oh, hey, that must be Harry and Mr. Weatherby. Let him in, Andy.
Okay. Miss Davis, it's your brother-in-law, Serenus.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Serenus.
Merry Christmas, Joni. Glad to see me.
Yep, I'm overjoyed. Where have you been, sleeping?
No, shopping. I bought a present for the kids' Christmas party.
Oh, that's nice.
You want to know what I got?
Certainly.
Well, ask me. Go ahead and ask me.
Well, I'm asking you. What did you get?
I got a pair of skates with no wheels on them.
No wheels? What kind of skates are they?
Ice skates.
Oh, never mind. Go on in the kitchen, Serenus, and help Andy with the ice cream.
Oh, you got ice cream? What flavor?
Well, we've got chocolate.
I don't like chocolate.
Well, how about vanilla?
I don't like vanilla.
How about strawberry?
I don't like strawberry.
Well, what do you like?
Chopped liver.
With schmaltz? Oh, forget about it, Serenus. Get busy helping Andy.
Joni.
Oh, it's you, Harry. Did you get Mr. Weatherby?
No, the watchman at the bank wouldn't even let me in to see you.
Oh, gee, if he doesn't get here soon to play Santa Claus, he's going to ruin the whole party for those poor kids.
Hey, maybe that's Mr. Weatherby now. I'll get it, Miss Davis.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Russell.
Merry Christmas, Mrs. Hipperton.
Oh, it's Rosella Hipperton, Joan.
Hello, Miss Davis and Miss Weatherby. And Mr. Bonzell. Hello. Haven't the kids arrived yet?
No, we're not supposed to call them until Santa Claus Weatherby gets here, which we hope will be soon.
Well, then, help me distribute these presents under the tree. Oh, good gracious. Who decorated that tree?
Well, here we go again. You want to hang one on too, Hippie?
I might have known that you did it, Miss Davis. You have too little on the top, and your lower limbs are twisted completely out of shape.
Now, let's not get personal, Hippie.
Oh, Miss Davis. Besides, the tree doesn't look white enough. I think it could stand some more of that silver snow on it.
Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Hipperton. We've run all out of that snow stuff. Oh. Hey, I know what we can hang on it, though, to make it look whiter.
What?
A few cakes of Swan soap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I thought of that. Swan makes everything look whiter because it's the new white floating soap that's 4 swell soaps in one. Swan's pure as fine castiles and so mild and gentle it's perfect for bathing the baby, for your hands and face. And those Swan suds are so hard-working, they're wonderful for your dishes and light laundry.
I admire your enthusiasm, Mr. Bonzell, but really, Swan for decorating a tree.
Whoa, well, why not? Why not? In my house, we couldn't get any mistletoe, so I hung up a cake of Swan. Yeah, yes, sir. Broke it in two, hung half in the kitchen and half in the bathroom.
Oh, Mr. Bonzell, who would kiss you under a cake of Swan?
The Lever Brothers, they make Swan, you know. Oh, of course, that was strictly my own idea. When it comes to the Lever Brothers, I know that their idea is that everyone everywhere, short and tall, large and small, have the happiest, merriest Christmas of all.
Well, it's not going to be a very Merry Christmas for those settlement kids if Mr. Weatherby doesn't show up to play Santa Claus.
Oh, don't worry, Miss Davis. If Mr. Weatherby doesn't show up, I'll be Santa Claus.
You, Hippie?
Why not? She's big enough to be Santa Claus.
She's big enough to be Santa Anita.
Joe!
They're off and running. There they go around the park.
Say, this time it is Mr. Weatherby. I can see him through the window.
Oh, great. Harry, call up the county settlement house and tell them to bring the kids right over.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Peter.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Mr. Weather. Say, how come you haven't got your Santa Claus suit on?
That's what I came over to tell you, Miss Davis. I won't be able to play Santa Claus for you tonight.
What?
That's right. Some last-minute business came up concerning the bank, which needs my immediate attention.
Well, Mr. Weatherby, we were counting on you.
That's right. After all, what's Christmas without Santa Claus?
You can't let those children down.
Yeah, this is Christmas Eve. Haven't you got any Christmas spirit?
I certainly have. I sent out cards to all my employees. I even gave the mailman $1. And I've taken care of Christmas.
Taking care of Christmas? Well, you haven't even come close. Do you realize how those kids at the settlement house are looking forward to tonight's party?
Well, I can't help that. Here's $10. Buy them something. Make them happy.
Buy them something? Why, you couldn't buy a smile from one of those kids for all the money in your bank. But if you played Santa Claus for them,
Miss
they
Davis, please stop this sentimental rubbish. I have business to attend to. Here's your costume. Get somebody else to play Santa Claus. Good night.
Gee, what are we going to do now?
Oh, well, don't feel badly about it, Joni. I'll play Santa Claus and love it, too. Andy, listen, you call up the settlement house and tell them we're ready.
Come on, Miss Davis. I'll help you finish decorating the tree. It really looks lovely.
Thanks, Hippie. The icicles are over in the corner.
May I get them, Miss Davis?
Oh, sure, Babs. Do you want to help, too?
I certainly do.
Oh, great. And while you're getting the trimmings, I'll put the star on top of the tree.
Well, be careful of that ladder, Miss Davis. It looks very shaky.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm all right. How do you like that, Mr. Weatherby? Welching on those kids. Boy, if I were one of those kids, I'd really hate him. Why, I'd get him by the collar and I'd shake him until...
You're shaking the ladder. Look out! Oh, Miss Davis fell off the ladder.
She's unconscious. Oh, that Mr. Weatherby. If I was a kid.
She's delirious.
If I was a kid... Toyland, little girl and boyland.
Hello, Joni.
Hello, Harry. Ain't it fun to be kids at Christmas time?
Yeah. Hey, where you going, Joni? Huh? Where you going, huh? Where, huh?
Well, I'm going down to the tea room on the corner. They're giving a Christmas party for all us kids. You want to come?
A Christmas party? Gee, Willikins, rinky-dink. I bet it'll be fun.
Yeah, except they ain't got nobody to play Santa Claus yet.
Well, how about Mr. Weatherby, the banker? He'd make a peachy Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go and ask him.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Joni, watch me leapfrog over that firefly.
Oh, you're always showing off.
Oh, you watch me make it.
Well, part of you made it.
Yoo-hoo, Joni, yoo-hoo.
Oh, it's old Fatso Rosella Hipperton.
Hiya, Fatso. Hello, Joni. And Harold Von Zell. Hello. Where are you going?
We was just going to Mr. Weatherby's house to ask him to play Santa Claus at the Christmas party. You want to come?
Sure. Oh, Harold, I got your Christmas present.
Oh, what is that?
It's a little locket with my picture in it.
A locket with your picture in it?
Yeah,
Papers! Evening papers!
Hey, kids, look, there's a new newsboy on the corner. Hey, kid, what's your name?
My name, is Antonio Russell.
Oh, that's a Spanish name, ain't it?
See?
Where do you live?
I live on the first floor at 213 and a half East Maple Street.
Gee, I live right across the street from you.
See?
On the same floor you do.
See?
I'll bet you can look right into my window.
See?
This kid is older than he looks. Any questions?
Hey, kid, how's the paper business today?
She is pretty good. So far, I take in 85 cents.
Say, that's not bad.
Oh, I would have done much better if I had today's papers.
Gee, can I stand here and watch you sell them?
See, papers, evening papers.
Say, you got a nice, soft voice.
Gracias. Every Sunday I sing in the choir.
I'll bet you're the best one in the choir.
Oh, no, there's one other boy there. He sings pretty good, too.
Who's that?
I don't know his name, but he's a skinny little fellow with a bow tie.
Hey, kid, you want to come with us to a swell Christmas party? We're going to ask Banker Weatherby to be Santa Claus.
Banker Weatherby? He is a bad man. He owns the house where Mother and I live, and he's putting us out tonight.
Tonight? Oh, he can't do that. It's Christmas Eve.
See, he knows that. The dispossessor's notice came with a Christmas card.
Jeepers, creepers, that's awful.
See, my mother, he is very unhappy.
And your father, how does she feel?
Oh, listen. Gee, Willigers. Come on, Joni. Mr. Weatherby can't foreclose that mortgage. He's got to be Santa Claus.
Well, how much is the mortgage, Antonio?
$1.
$1? That's a lot of money.
Yes, and all I have is 85 cents. I got to sell 3 more papers or we lose our beautiful home. Papers! Evening papers!
Hey, here comes little Barbara Weatherby. She's rich. Maybe she'll buy the papers.
Yeah. Hiya, Babs. You want to buy 3 papers from this nice little boy?
Oh, my. He is a nice little boy, but I've already read the papers.
Yeah, but if you do buy the papers from him, he'll have a very Merry Christmas, and if you don't, he'll be put out of his house, and he'll have to live in the street, too.
I can't help that. My pater has already celebrated Christmas. He gave the mailman $1 million.
$1 million?
What's all that noise going on down there?
Oh, it's Mr. Weatherby. Hey, Mr. Weatherby, you want to play Santa Claus at our Christmas party?
I should say not. I haven't time for that nonsense. I'm too busy counting my money.
Oh, please play Santa Claus, Mr. Weatherby.
Oh, don't bother me. Barbara, get that riffraff away from here.
Whip-whap?
Yes, and if you kids don't get away from here before I count 3 million, I'll pour water on you. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million.
Help! Help, I'm drowning! I'm drowning! Mr. Weatherby, please play Santa Claus. I'm drowning!
Oh, Mr. Van Zell, she seems to be coming out of it. You'd better not pour any more water on her.
Where am I? What happened?
Well, Joni, you fell off the ladder and were delirious for a little while, but you're all right now.
Harry, did I miss the party?
No, Miss Davis. The children are on their way over now. And I am going to play Santa Claus for them.
Mr. Weatherby, you? Am I still dreaming? Am I out of my mind?
No, Miss Davis, you're all right. But I must have been out of my mind when I refused to play Santa Claus for those children. I thought over what you said to me. And you were right. Absolutely right.
Oh, Pate, I'm so proud of you. We're all proud of you, Mr. Weatherby. It takes a good man to admit he's wrong.
It takes a better girl to convince him, eh, Miss Davis?
Oh, Mr. Weatherby, you're just saying that.
No, I'm not.
Well, somebody just said it.
Say, get ready, everybody. Here comes the bus from the county settlement house.
Oh, Harry, turn on the Christmas tree lights.
Right, Joni.
Hippie, get the ice cream.
Right, Joni.
Barbara, light the Christmas candles.
Right, Joni.
Mr. Weatherby, you know what you have to do.
Right, Joni.
Serenas, get away from that chopped liver.
Right, Johnny.
And Andy, start singing.
Right, Joni. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children
sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Noche de paz, noche de amor, todo duerme alrededor, sobre el santo niño Jesús. Una estrella esparce su luz. Armonías de paz, armonías de paz.
Oh, that was beautiful, Andy. Beautiful. And all I can say now to all our listeners, from myself, my cast, and my sponsor, the Lever Brothers, makers of Swan, is good night and Merry Christmas.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.